They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way too fly. Yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation, now I got rollies, all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Squatting all bad like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that I had to prove to everybody else. I had to set them straight, yeah. I had to ball, so I had to renovate. I know they hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah. I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment. I swear I could levitate.
Yep. Salute everybody in the building, man. We back at it. It's Tuesday, news day. So much to talk about. Got me off my square this morning. I don't know why I be running. I don't care what I do. I can't be on time, man. I don't care what I do, bro. I don't care what precautions I take. Something gonna happen, man. Something gonna happen, man. The universe just working against the kid, man. Salute to everybody in the building. Salute to you, Ray Davis. How you doing, King?
I'm good, man. Back on some I'm glad. Listen, I was on some type of cold, but I'm glad I'm back, man. Great week. Salute to everybody in the chat. Much obliged.
Yeah, last week was a crazy week for me too, man. I had to decompress a little bit. I went up once. I think we both went up on maybe on Tuesday. I can't remember, but I was just out of it, man. I had so much things going on at the same time. It's like I didn't have time for boxing, man. It's like I just didn't have time for it. So much going on. I just didn't have time for it, right? So it is what it is, though. Well, we back at it, man. A lot's been going on, obviously. You know how these Tuesdays are, Ray. These Tuesdays get crazy. So much stuff. So much stuff happens between, Thursday and Tuesday. Just a whole lot to talk about. We had a fight this weekend, obviously. We had two events actually this weekend, but even on that, I was a little bit delayed on it. I caught the DAZN card, obviously. I caught Diego, I caught Andy, I caught Ernesto. I caught those fights. I even saw Queen Moses, fight. And great card. I think 135 kind of took a little bit of some life, got a little lit, a little bit of Nelson Mercado wanting to be part of the conversation, even in the 140-pound weight class division as well. Could have things kind of moving in that direction. And then obviously we saw Diego Pacheco versus Steve Nelson. We'll be talking about all of that. I'm not sure in that time period if that was part of the window as to when this fight was actually solidified between Stanionis and Jaron Ennis as well, if we got a chance to talk about that, but we'll talk about that as well. That's coming up in April. We've got also it looks like Teofimo Richard Hitchinson is in negotiations to be a next fight, a unification title fight at 140. Obviously, Tio's WBO title and Hitchinson being the new IBF champion. We'll talk about that as well, see what that looks like. Shakur Stevenson, we're getting closer to February 22nd. Rumors going around about Shakur and his hands, and which I can understand. I'll be honest with you. We're going to talk about it, but people are talking about his hands, and it seems like people are a little nervous about his hands or trying to, put some bad juju on it. This will be Shakur Stevenson's first fight back since the hand surgery. And really his first fight on Matchroom, right? This will be his first fight. It'll be a Riyadh card. Another big card. It'll be the card he was supposed to be on the Better Beef Bivol 1 card. It looks like he's going to get his second opportunity to be on the Better Beef Bivol 2 card. And people are throwing shots at his hands. How can you not take that into consideration? He just had a hand surgery. Both not even on the hand that was supposedly hurt when he fought against Edwin De Los Santos. On the other hand, of course you're going to question it, right? But coming from his camp, couldn't be further from the truth. His hands is feeling great. He even put out a little bit of sparring video, showed him like throwing his hands, really like letting his hands go, and he looks healthy, right? But regardless, we'll talk about that. And we'll just obviously we're gonna talk about Turkey a little bit as well. You know, Shakur speaking on Turkey about what he's doing to the game right now. And I think like the boxing space, you hearing boxers, am I on? I disappeared.
You're on, right? Not on. Good. You can hear you.
No, something happened. Let me try to fix it first. Let me see if I can get this. All right. I hope that does it. Obviously, you know, boxers are starting to come out and seem like and speak a little bit more forward towards the effect of Turkey and what they're liking about Turkey and the competitive nature of the sport being kind of restored, the best fighting the best. And, you know, even Shakur commented a little bit on how, you know, fighters just going to have to drop their nuts, quoting Shakur Stevenson a little bit more in this era of boxing. We're going to see a lot more competitive fights. And like he said, you want to see your fighter against a fighter who you think can beat him, you know? So, you know, I think Shakur was speaking a little bit just towards the idea of, you know, him fighting a Floyd Schofield, but also future fights, you know, being very competitive and very hard fights and how much he's looking forward to challenge himself in those areas. Salute to 8 in the building, putting the first color in the chat. Salute to 8 in the building, man. Let's see here. Salute to the OGs, man. Salute to you, fam. We appreciate you showing some love, man, putting some color in here, man. You guys don't be scared to follow suit, man. Help the channel grow. Help the channel grow by donating to the channel. You know what I mean? Obviously, engaging in the chats as well. And definitely let's get those likes up if you haven't done that yet. So we're going to be talking about all that. You know what I mean? Also want to put some perspective. I mean, I know, of course, we're going into a weekend with David Morrell and David Benavidez as well. I'm not delusional about that. We are going to talk about that. I don't know if we're going to talk about that so much today, being that we're just coming off the weekend. We could touch on it. I figured tomorrow probably be the day. I think tomorrow there's a weigh-in. Not a weigh-in, but a social. There'll be a media workout tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we got a couple of things.
Grand Arrivals.
Grand Arrivals or something like that. Yeah, some sort of media energy around that fight. Starts off tomorrow. Obviously, the fight being on Saturday. So I thought maybe we wait a little bit to see if that came around before we really spoke too much on it. But I think, you know, as that fight's getting closer and closer, I'm up in the air about it, Ray. I'm not gonna lie to you. For me, I'm back and forth with it, man. And one moment I'm like David Benavidez, another moment I'm like David Morrell. I can just see. I know you're not. I can see how either one of these guys can win. I see it happening. I can see how it happens for David, and I can see how it happens for David Morrell. The question is, who's going to push their will forward on fight night? Who's showing up? We'll talk about that. Right? Hood Rich say play tripping. I know, Rich. Salute to you, by the way, Hood Rich. Long time no here, brother. Always good to see you in the building, man. Let me do a quick little roll call, and you just kind of get into it as well. Let you kind of do your thing. Shout out to Easy in the building. East side. Salute Secret Dance Move in the building. Always got something to say. Always got something to say. Shout out to Ross Cott. Your favorite fight is a bum. We're gonna talk about Pacheco, Diego as well. And talk about these fights this weekend for sure. Shout out to let's see anybody else in there. Flyer Frequency, my brother. Ryan Speech. And of course, Hood Rich already shouted you out. No doubt, man. So yeah, man, what's good with you, man? Ray, where you at?
Nothing, man. Like I said, recovering off a loss of my throat, my voice. Pause. I've never in my life lost my voice before, so it was a surprise to me. My wife was happy, but let me tell you, the gift and the curse of that, right? She asked me a question, I couldn't answer her. She was getting mad. So at the end of the day, all respect due. Yeah, it was funny as hell. I mean, watching her say, "What? I can't hear you." So, but on other things, Clay, man, I just been enjoying this boxing thing, man. Poking the bear a little bit sometimes, and you know, not too much, but more relaxed though. You know what I mean? More relaxed, more not trying to be like a pest. Just asking questions. You know what I mean? Like, yo, okay, well, you really see it like that, or you just saying that type shit? You know what I mean? But we good.
No doubt, man. And that's what it's all about, man, at the end of the day. But let's see here, man. Where do we start off at? I mean, we start off with the elephant in the room, right? Diego Pacheco defeats Stone Cold.
Why not? And I still think that man hurt his hand, but we can talk about it. I think if y'all watch the fight again, y'all watch those last couple of rounds, you see how he was slapping him with his right hand, man. I'm like, yo, he lost that hand somewhere in that fight. Like, I don't know where it was, but he just wasn't using his right hand for a reason. I think that's the reason why he stayed away from Diego Pacheco. That's why he only landed the big lefts. I mean, it is what it is. Whether they admit it or not, they call it to the forefront. We'll find out. But you know what I mean, the action doesn't lie when I see things. And yeah, man, congratulations to Diego Pacheco on a nice victory. And shout out to the so cold Stone Cold Clay. So cold.
It's not Stone Cold. Damn.
So cold. It's okay. I got it. It's S-O. Just T and the N-E is in the way, but it's okay. We got it.
No doubt.
But yeah, shout out to So Cold. What's up, Sob TV? Salute. Yeah, man, it's like he stood there. He showed he got a beard, bro. He was taking some wallops. You know what I mean? Getting hit with the Captain Caveman hammer, you know, whatever that was. What's that? But anyway, yeah, man, he was in there, man. He definitely got a beard, and you know what I mean? Shout out to him. Hey, man, greatest pastures, man. Whatever he do next, I'm supporting.
Yeah, no doubt. Man, it was a good fight. It was a good fight, number one, right? Diego Pacheco, I think it was a good test. I think, you know, that cut that Steve Nelson got in the fight. I think it altered the way he was going to fight a little bit. I do think he threw it off. That's what he's actually, you know, I don't want to say blaming it on, but it seems to be like that's where he kind of lost his way a little bit and kind of got thrown off of whatever the strategy was going to be, kind of got altered by that injury. But look, Diego Pacheco was showing a lot of poise in that fight. He showed that he got the poise, showed he could stay behind it. He showed he could be cerebral when he needs to be. And I think that's important going up into these next big fights, because he's definitely aligned himself and put himself in a position to get some huge opportunities now that he's, you know, believe it or not, against Steve Nelson. If you're just a boxing fan, I think watching that fight, not that Steve Nelson was the biggest name in the game or, you know, the biggest, but I think if you understand how good Steve Nelson is, you would give Diego Pacheco a lot of his flowers, and he just put a lot more confidence, I think, in what I can expect from him going forward, but definitely in himself. He definitely got an opportunity to see what he could do. You know what I mean? And I really believe he knows that Steve Nelson was a huge challenge for him, a big risk, a lot of people would say he probably didn't even need to take because he was already in the conversation, right? But you're seeing fighters now that, you know, I'll say with Turkey Al-Sheikh in the game, you're seeing fighters get a little bit more back on the path of wanting to challenge themselves and wanting to prove themselves, because I think they see something at the end of the rainbow for themselves, right? Like, or at the end of the tunnel, they see a light where, you know, being a champion, fighting the best is going to start paying up. It's going to start paying out. You know what I mean? It's going to start making something happen. And you're seeing fighters seem like they want to step up and challenge themselves. And that's what Diego did in this fight. I like the way he looked in the fight. You saw Steve Nelson wasn't able to kind of take away his jab from him, like about a third round or something, third, fourth. You know, he was getting around the jab, but Diego stayed disciplined and stayed behind that jab, used it to set up a lot of uppercuts, a lot of, you know what I'm saying, a lot of shots that worked out for him. And you know, honestly, it was a right hand at the end of the day that hurt Steve and cut his eye. Wasn't the hardest shot. Steve said it wasn't the hardest shot, but the timing was perfect, and it caught him the right way. Moving forward now, he's gotten past Steve Nelson, and we can talk about what's next for Steve Nelson as well, because high risk, low reward. You know what happens with these fighters at his age, at 36 years old. You want to see him get involved in the biggest fights he can get involved in. I know that's what he wants for himself, but you know, when he brings no accolades to the table, he brings no jewelry to the table. He just brings a great fight to the table. So if you're a fighter trying to have a great fight, you want to fight against Steve Nelson. Give yourself an opportunity to get a big victory and also be part of an exciting fight. That's your kind of fight. If you're a little bit more paranoid, a little bit more concerned about your record and staying undefeated or whatever it looks like right now, Steve Nelson is probably not going to be your top choice to get involved with right now, being that he doesn't even bring like the bag with him. It's not like Turkey's directly behind him. I still think he's kind of like a free agent a little bit, kind of like floating around and riding, you know, in Terrence Crawford's shadow. But we'll talk about that another moment. Diego Pacheco now getting this victory. I don't know where he's at in the rankings right now, but I would say at this point, what do you think, Ray? Like at this point, are we ready to see Diego Pacheco fight somebody, an Edgar Berlanga, a Jaime Munguia, a Christian and Billy?
Yep. I'm going to tell you why. Because they're 1 and 2 in both of their sanctions. So WBC, you have Christian and Billy, number 1, and in the WBO, you have Diego Pacheco, number 1, and vice versa in the number 2 spot, right? Mm-hmm. So it's actually pretty cool in such a way that you see these guys right there at the same level. Mm-hmm. So to me, this is the fight to have. I think the aggression changes the whole aggression thing with Billy changes the way Diego Pacheco fights this fight. Now, at the same time, being a 6'3", 6'4" fighter with a 80-inch long arm reach, bro, you know what I mean? Does that nullify somebody that's aggressive like a Billy that just comes forward? But you know what I mean? I think he has a really good guard. Does it nullify him or does it set him up for danger like he did? The uppercuts were there. They'll be there for Billy, but it's a good fight. I think that's a very aggressive fight. Billy showed to have a beard too. He's willing to punch while he's inside. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of that from Steve Nelson. Yeah, right. So Steve Nelson would have got some of those inside shots off like he did in the 12th and the 11th. We got a whole different fight. Somebody with Billy who's not afraid to punch on the inside. It changes things.
Yeah, definitely. And Billy in the conversation right now, been trying to stay in the conversation of a Canelo Alvarez fight. I don't see that happening for him. He doesn't bring anything to the table. Canelo has a lot better options. Obviously, Terrence Crawford being one of the biggest options in front of him. But also, everybody knows the William Skull fight seems to be a fight that would make sense. Make him a multiple-time undisputed champion, even though it's in the same division. It still counts for something, and also makes the fight even bigger between him and Terrence Crawford in September. And Billy would be an interesting fight. I've been keeping my eye on Osli Iglesias as well. Mm-hmm. Kind of seeing him there, but once again, another fighter who some people might say high risk, low reward. He can really derail you. He only has like 13 fights right now. High percentage knockout ratio. I think he's knocked out everybody except. Let me pull up his record. I think he's knocked everybody except for like one dude, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Let me see. Yeah, exactly. 13 fights, 12 knockouts. You know what I'm saying? High risk, low reward. There to derail your favorite fighters' plans on becoming a champion in division. I think maybe Diego Pacheco has proven himself a little bit with this Steve Nelson fight, at least to himself. And if anything, maybe we can start realizing that we don't want to start taking unnecessary risk at this point in his career, right? Maybe at this point, let's go for something that makes more sense. Christian and Billy right there on the WBC rankings, right? It's him, Jaime Munguia, and Diego. We know Jaime Munguia is getting his rematch against Bruno Sarasi from that knockout upset of the year last year. That's what his game plan and his priorities is going to be lined up with. Christian and Billy, number 1 there. Diego Pacheco at number 3. But right behind Diego Pacheco is Osli Iglesias is right there, floating around there, looking for his opportunity to have his big fight, his big opportunity to make a name for himself. And it looks like Diego, if I was Osli, I would think that Diego Pacheco would be the guy who I'm looking to get after.
I will push for that fight. All right. I definitely that's the fight to push for Iglesias. And I think it could be a good matchup, but that's one of those high risk, low rewards for Pacheco. You got a guy that's close to your height, almost equal reach, with arm span. It could be a dangerous fight. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful how you pick your next opponent. You know what I mean? Right. So I think Billy might be the fight. It's a better opportunity. It puts him in number 1 in probably 3 of the belt sanctions. Maybe all 4. It changes the whole landscape of 168. The only other thing he has is he can go veteran move, right? He could try to pull out Caleb Plant. He could try to pull up like you said, a Berlanga, somebody that formerly fought Canelo. Bring one of those guys in and show that he's better. Everybody else, I think, around there, I don't even see Munguia in a conversation at the point because of his rematch and because of the way he lost. Right. So I don't see that in the picture. If they look at him, they're looking to knock him out and get him up out of there. Right. So it's some more options. You know what I mean? He has a few options on the table.
Yeah, I see somebody in the chat put up McCumbee in there, Trevor McCumbee. I think it's a great dancing partner. I don't want to say tune up or stay busy fight, but I think that's what that fight will be looked at as. But I think McCombie's a legitimate, he brings Steve Nelson energy in his own right. You know what I mean? Like, he can derail you. It's not an easy fight. It's a risk to take that fight, to fight somebody who's probably not even ranked. I don't think he's ranked top 15 in any of the sanctioning bodies. I'd have to look.
Nope.
He isn't, right? So you're risking a lot for somebody who's not even in that in the conversation. At least with Osi Iglesias, it is a risk, but like you said, it helps him out in every single one of the sanctioned bodies. You know what I'm saying? To beat him, you know what I'm saying, keeps him at a minimum where he is, maybe even pushes him up a little bit and gets him a little bit closer to a mandatory to one of these titles. If he's not able to lock it in with the Christian Mbili, if Christian Mbili is actually looking to do something with somebody else, then the option is there for him to fight Osley. We'll see what Diego does. He needs to stay busy though, regardless, right? I mean, he doesn't want to. Right. Do you see him taking like another 9 months to a year off, just waiting for an opportunity?
No. I mean, he's with Matchroom. Matchroom doesn't see. I think he put eyes. See, the whole thing is when you have these dancing partners and you put on performances, whose attention are you grabbing? You know what I mean? Forget about the fighters. Let's look at the promoters and how they can make big fights and how they can make things happen.
Right.
This looks like something Bob Arum would be interested in. Turkey Al-Sheikh might be interested in. He seems like a fighter that somebody seems like he's kind of throwback-ish, and he can make a move in the right direction. As far as him being like one of those guys that you just let's just throw him in there, high risk, low reward, whatever. I don't see that with him. So, it depends what direction he wants to move. And I think he has a lot of options. As far as PBC, we don't know. That's why I said the Caleb Plant is kind of far-fetched, but it could happen.
Right. It would take some cross-promotion. I agree with you. I think Caleb is I'll be honest with you, I'm looking here. Is Caleb
he's ranked WBA interim. So he's not going to be ranked at number one anymore.
Exactly. So he's right there in the conversation as well already. So he might not be trying to take the risk of fight against Diego Pacheco either right now. He might be wanting to, you know what I'm saying? The 168 division, everybody's kind of crammed up top right now, waiting on Canelo Alvarez, obviously, to either fight one of them or to leave and put them in position to fight for an actual legitimate title. Nobody wants to take that risk right now. Diego's kind of like in that rock and a hard place, right? He's in that space now where he's there. He kind of has earned his right at any one of these guys, but each one of these guys seem like they have their interest in, not to say stay inactive, but to not fight the wrong fight. They understand each fight makes sense. I'm hearing rumors that Edgar Berlanga might be looking to push a fight out with Diego Pacheco. That's what I'm hearing, that he saw something in that fight and he might be interested in making that fight happen. I don't know how Edgar Berlanga somehow became the payday in the big fight off of a loss with Canelo Alvarez, but that's what it does seem like it is. That's how he's selling himself, at least, to be as like this big payday and like the best thing since sliced bread. Off of a loss, he's ranked below. I would say on that WBO, he's still up there in the top 3, but let me see. In the WBA, he's up there still in the top 5. But like he's right there. He's right there with Diego Pacheco. So it could happen. That makes sense too. What do you think about that fight?
I think that's a great fight after where Pacheco stands. I think Berlanga has a fight coming up. He needs to get through his fight first. I think that's a great summer fight. When I say summer fight, that's Puerto Rico versus Mexico. And I think that's a really good fight for the summer. It can land on a perfect date. They could be both their next opponents if they get past. It could be a great build-up. Berlanga has made a splash for himself, putting his name out there, making a parade for himself because he battled Canelo and lost.
I mean, it was a moral victory in it for him. He went the whole 12 rounds. He fought.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a victory of some sorts in there, right?
Right. So with that being said, you know what I mean? He shared the ring with the great one, right? So why not get a Pacheco in there, a young lion, and take him out before he grows his mane, get him out of there. You know what I mean? Before he starts becoming a threat to everybody, and then you can't do nothing with him. Berlanga starts to see that because he was once that young lion, and I think he got his mane grown, so he thinks that he out there to be what is it, Krugen, the lion guy? Yeah, he that dude. You know what I mean, Kragen. I don't know. You know, you just Craven. You know what I mean? So he's down the next Craven in line for Canelo. He thinks he can get back to that stage, but he has this guy standing in front of him. And I think Pacheco would be a great matchup for him, but just not in the right moment. It has to be the right moment, the right setting. If it ain't the right setting, it ain't gonna work. But it could happen.
Yeah, the next move gonna be his best move. Right now, Diego's in a great position. He's just coming off a great victory. Who's gonna want to meet him halfway? I'm hearing rumors of Edgar. That would be a great fight. He needs an Edgar Berlanga. He needs a name at this point. He's ready. Steve Nelson was the biggest no name he's fought, right? Like it's like it was the biggest challenge, but the name isn't there. People, unless you're a real, in my opinion, hardcore boxing fan, casual fans ain't recognizing Steve Nelson and recognizing this victory for what it really is. But he's shown through this fight for hardcore boxing fans. I think we're ready to see him in the ring with one of these names. Some would say we always was. Shout out to Round One Sports in the building.
Country Q in the building,
man. Shout out to Country Q in the building. Shout out to Dragonfly Jones. Of course. You know what I mean? We'll see what he does, man. We'll see what he does, man. Is he ready for a Canelo fight? No. Will he need to take that fight if it's on the table? Yes. You're right. Like if Canelo offers this guy a fight, he's got no choice, in my opinion.
Right.
He has to do what he has to do, right? Like you're just gonna have to take it. It is what it is.
Yeah, and that's what Canelo be a smart one and getting him out the way before he get too big and he can't handle it. You know what I mean? Not trying to be funny.
Thinking that as well. What if Canelo decides to make that let me get the young bull, you know what I mean? Show everybody that I'm in. And plus this is the Benavidez camp, right? He has, he's tall like David Benavidez. This is kind of like a remember back in the day what they call it, a no frills Benavidez fight. You know what I'm saying? For Canelo, where he tries to sell this as a, I was really punishing David Benavidez. I ain't scared of him. Look, I fought his counterpart in his own gym in Diego Pacheco, who brings pedigree, who's proven himself now against Steve Nelson. You know what I mean? This is a fight. Let's make this a big fight. Mexico against Mexico again. Maybe Canelo does jump into that, right? Make it a big deal.
Right.
Yeah, so before we move on, you think this could be the Cinco de Mayo? That Canelo could say after the double time, fighting William Skull, a fight where a boxer, William Skull's not going to make this an exciting fight, but this would make him a 2-time undisputed champion. But does he do that, or does he go for the big payday and build up the big fight with a Diego Pacheco and make Cinco de Mayo the big fight, give him the Jaime Munguia 2.0?
Nope, no, I don't think so. I don't think that doesn't make sense. I think the belt will bring fans for Cinco de Mayo. I think you take a page out of Floyd's book, Mexico versus American Black. You get in the ring, and that settles it. You know what I mean? That builds the conflict. The only reason why the Munguia fight was so big is because Munguia had just came off a nice victory. He had just signed an Oscar, Mexican promoter, and they built that.
He didn't just sign. He'd been with Oscar.
No, he only had 2 fights. He had just signed. He had one fight, and he had one with Canelo. Then he jumped back to top rank.
Okay.
That built enough up. You know what I mean, to say, hey, look, I got my Mexican here. He's talking back to Canelo. Oscar and Canelo don't get along. I don't know how they share the same air in the room, but it is what it is. But I think that built that fight up. You know what I mean, for American Mexican to Mexican. Building up, and I mean Oscar's sense of they wish Oscar and Canelo could fight, but we know that's not going to happen right now. So what's the next best thing? My young stud that I just brought in from wherever. Oh, no, I'm not going to be disrespectful, but from Mexico,
right?
I think Mexico City or something like that.
No doubt. All right, man. So that being said, and moving on, I think the guy who showed out also in that evening was definitely Andy Cruz, right? He proves a 5-0 with this win over Salcido, right? And we got to talk about this fight because there's multiple different things that was going on in this fight that I was watching. I don't know about you, but when I'm watching, I am watching. What y'all on? No link today yet. Hood Rich, not yet, not yet, fam. We kind of get through these topics and then we open it up for the panel, man. But I'm watching Bozy Ennis. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm watching Bozy Ennis and what's coming out of his camp right now. I'm watching Stephen Fulton because of Bozy. I'm watching Jerron Boots Ennis. I'm watching Bozy. I'm watching Boots, of course. But I'm watching Bozy, right? And this being a fighter with the amateur background he came in there with, his Olympic background, with the pedigree he brought to the table, not seemingly being a fighter who fits the template of what I see Bozy producing in Jerron Boots Ennis. If you want to see how versatile he would be, I would say that Andy Cruz and Jerron Boots Ennis is on complete two different sides of the conversation, right? Like Jerron Boots Ennis has an IQ, but he's also a very explosive fighter. He brings what he brings to the table, but Andy's more of a finesse fighter. We saw in his last fight against Antonio Moran, he got clipped, got on the stanky legs a little bit. We're like, okay. And then you saw him kind of go back to what he does, and he was able to come full circle and stop Antonio Moran in that fight. But a lot of people would have said the same way they saw holes in Boots' game against a Karen or against a David Avanesian, you saw holes in Andy Cruz's game. So going into this fight, knowing that Omar Salcido was going to bring a good chin, bring that Mexican-style flat foot, come forward, power punching type of attitude coming out of another Robert. No, is he Robert? No, is he Robert Garcia's fighter or Jose Benavidez?
I believe so.
No, he's Jose Benavidez.
Jose Benavidez.
Right.
Yeah.
Coming out of that camp, you wanted to see how Andy was what adjustments that I wanted to see what adjustments Bozy did with him, and I wanted to see what it was going to look like in the ring. So I'm going to ask you, first of all, after, congratulations to Andy Cruz. He moves to 5-0. Looks like they're trying to fast track him to a championship fight. If you look at the ranking structures, he's like damn near top 5 in every single one of them at this point. He's right there in position to fight for a title soon at 5 fights into his career, right? But what were you looking forward to seeing in this fight? You see Andy Cruz come back and fight Omar Salcido. What were you looking to see? Separation
from his opponent. A dominant performance, but boxing IQ. I wanted to see those 3 things with Andy Cruz. I don't think we get that because I think we have Bozy, and maybe it's me or maybe it's just the way I'm seeing things. Bozy has this attack mentality. Hit first, worry second. And it thinks that he lives on that and predicates on that based on how Boots fights, because Boots is able to stay inside the pocket and move and with his agility and not get hit in close in a phone booth, which is cool. Not everybody's Boots in this. You alluded to that earlier, but I think we have a situation where he's trying to push a lot of fighters to be like that and to be in that type of atmosphere where you have guys that have good footwork. Great ability to keep the jab, great boxing up the back foot, counters, things of that nature. And I think you take those abilities away from somebody like Andy Cruz, who could have been there, foot off the back foot, and tagged him, this guy right where he wanted him. Hit him whenever he wanted, and not been subjected to some big shots that he took in that fight. Shout out to him. Shows he had a beard. He stayed with the fight. He backed up. He got hit one. He backed up, recalibrated, went back in. With an arsenal and got the job done. But is it too much risk? Do you see him doing this against an elite fighter right now in the top 5? Absolutely not. What's up, Big Sarge? I don't see that. So to me, I think we have to look at how his training is. In a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you, man. We've talked about this obviously prior to being on here, so we had some deep conversations about this, and I think we've been watching what Bozy's been, because last year, all eyes was on Bozy for the right reasons, right? I thought it was going to be his year last year. In the beginning of 2024, I was like, yo, Bozy Ennis, man, trainer of the year candidate. It was him, Robert Garcia. We were talking about all the potential trainers of the year and who we were going to be looking at to kind of give those accolades, but I think we could be honest with each other and say that he fell a little short of that. Just kind of like, but it's amazing though, because his fighters didn't lose, right? None of his fighters lost, but at the same time, you just started seeing some things that was like not good signs. I didn't like how Stephen Fulton looked in his last fight. Got sat on his pockets. He got buckled a couple times in that fight. A lot of people thought he lost his last fight. Obviously, Boots had 2 performances last year, where each one of the performances on the back end of victories, people were criticizing the way Boots was looking in the fight. And, obviously comparing, and that's kind of part of what comes with the game, right? When you're getting involved in a conversation of putting Boots in front of a Terrence Crawford, right? Every fight you watch, you start thinking about Terrence Crawford fighting him, and you see him fight against David, and you're like, all right, you look good, but against Terrence, Then you see him fight against Karen, A fight that, the first fight, Cameron was running around kind of scared of Boots and really stood his ground and fought Boots and was hitting him with a lot of shots, but, never hurt Boots or anything like that. But once again, what are you envisioning? You're envisioning Boots being in the ring with Terrence. You're watching the way he fights, and you're thinking about him at 154. You're thinking about him against the big hitters at 154, and you're not seeing nothing in the fights that you saw him, the last 2 fights he specifically had at 147 that makes him competitive at 154, the way you thought he would be, right? But then you come full circle and you see Andy Cruz. He has 2 performances. His last performance against Antonio Moran, you started seeing that sitting on his punches. It was looking good. You see Bosie's game plan making him a more exciting fighter, a more explosive fighter, but you have to ask yourself a question: is Andy Cruz, is that the way he fights? Is that who he actually is? And eventually, will he end up suffering, the worst case scenario, getting in the ring with a Keyshawn Davis, right? Getting in the ring with these fighters who they want to see him fight against. And that's what's happening with Andy, as far as I'm concerned. You're seeing him fight, and you have to ask yourself a question, being that Keyshawn is his son. Does that Andy Cruz we saw last night give Keyshawn Davis the problems that everybody thinks he's going to give Keyshawn?
I don't know. What's up, 2 cents? What's going on, Lance Meyer? Shout out and Pinchy, my bad. Yes and no, because I think he has something figured out where maybe he'll go to that. You know what I mean? That's something that salute Teach. That's something he has in his bag that he knows. You know what I mean? Also, you got to remember, having a loss to somebody plays a trick on your mind as well. It's not so much, it's mental for Keyshawn Davis. He might want to go in there and get his get back. He might want to get revenge. Whatever the case may be, he may have some triggers that can complicate the fight for himself with Andy Cruz. It's not so much of a performance in the ring type fight. It could be something that's mental. That plays a big part when you're in these events, against each other with great fighters. Now, at the same time, do I see the way he's approaching his fights? Does he stand a chance? I don't think so. I think he's shown that he has elevated himself to another level to Andy Cruz currently at the time. Doesn't mean that Andy Cruz, again, can't beat him. We don't know until it happens, right? It's only speculation and what we see with our eyes. As long as he does not go on the attack the way he has been, like very stand in the pocket-ish and being aggressive, I think he has a shot. But if he sits there and he's just, I'm coming to melee you and I'm trying to get you out of here all day, no, absolutely not. I don't think there's a shot.
I think Andy looked good to me Saturday night. I'm not gonna lie to you. He looked good to me. Against the opponent that he was in the ring with, I kind of understand where he was coming from. I understood the game plan. I thought it was a decent game plan, right? Omar Salcido was definitely going to be a headhunter in that fight, coming off of a stoppage win against Chris Colbert. He had to be careful. He knew he got clipped in the Antonio Moran fight. He knew that, he didn't want to get clipped like that by Omar Salcido. Some people might even want to throw in the question, because you saw there were parts in that fight where Bosie was kind of like, I don't want to say chastising him, but wanting him to be a little bit more offensive, right? And you saw Andy being a little bit more reserved. Like, he thought that jab was the superstar of the night.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the highlight of the evening, right?
Picked him apart.
But he hesitated in following up after the jab. Like, he jabbed and kind of like use it to like score and move, kind of get out the way a little bit. And he wasn't letting his hands go as much as I think Bosie wanted him to let his hands go. I personally thought he was letting his hands go where he was supposed to let his hands go at. But once again, Bosie kind of wanting to like push the offensive part of the fight a little bit more, kind of like want that jab to be setting up something bigger, and Andy kind of picking and choosing where he was going to mix it up at and where he was going to keep moving at. He made sure he stayed on his bicycle for the most part in that fight, though. He didn't just stand there. He had his moments, but he fought a smart fight. But it did look like it wasn't going with the game plan on 100% that Bosie had. You'd have to think that the last fight kind of got in Andy's head a little bit, right? Do you think he was kind of like holding back a little bit just off the strength of getting clipped in that first fight?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's where like you hear him telling him to do this, And he did. I forgot what round it was. He did go in there. He went and took a chance.
Right.
When he took that chance, he was getting hit. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking this guy, and I'm thinking this guy's like, yo, man. Andy Cruz is like, yo, look, I don't mind getting punched. I don't think this guy has enough to take me out, but it's making me uncomfortable, and you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So he resorts back to boxing, to being a professional in his craft. You know what I mean? Skill set, using the jab, finding his shots, picking them, beating you before, you know what I mean, where I can, not beating you to be exciting. And he showed that. And I think he's going to grow. I mean, he's 5 fights in, Clay. I want to be too harsh.
Part of it. I was going to bring that in as well.
I want to be too harsh as a critic.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
This is a different level from the Olympics and the amateur background. 100%. So once we see where he's going to be, you know what I mean, in 10 fights, 12 fights, then we can start saying these things. Remember, Keyshawn was in the same boat. He was 6 fights. People were still questioning him at 12 fights, right? Because he didn't fight nobody. Was he 12? I'm sorry, not 12. Like 9 fights.
Yeah, I would say by the time Keyshawn hit about 7, by his 7th fight, it was like the eye test was starting to tell you what to, or I see where he's going with it. I think by like for fight 9.
I think it was a little later than that. I think the fight right before Pacheco, the one that got called off.
Not Pacheco, about Pedraza.
Pedraza, thank you. I don't know why I said Pacheco. Thank you, Pacheco.
Yeah, you're talking about Nahir Albright. He kind of showed.
That was the fight we really seen Keyshawn step up. Because remember, the fight before that, he looked really bad. It looked questionable, right?
No. It wasn't the fight. It was the Nahir Albright fight that he looked bad in. That was the one that, not say he looked bad, but that was a fight where he got clipped. Right. He got hurt in that fight.
Yeah. Okay, my bad. Yeah. So that fight, and then he went into the fight that got taken off the record.
Right. Nahir Albright was the fight that got taken off the record.
Oh, well, what was the one before that? Because it was the fight before that. He fought the Russian guy or some Canadian guy. I think, and that guy was really that guy threw some questions out there, right? Regardless, what I'm saying is that when he was fighting the good fight with this gentleman, right? He it made him look a little suspect. Everybody's like, "Yo,
you're right." It was Francisco Patero. Yeah, Francisco.
Yeah, right. So people were questioning that, and when they were questioning
the first fight, Mr. Dig It, you dig it.
There you go.
It was Francisco.
Then he started turning on the lights a little bit. The sneakers got running. You mean? So that's when we started seeing him step up. So it's very possible we can see the same thing with the Andy Cruz by the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th fight of his career. And we can see a better fight with a Keyshawn Davis at that point. Right now, he's still, you know what I mean, still skating on thin ice, I would say, because we don't know what to expect because his career is still changing from amateur to professional.
Yeah, listen, man. And you brought it up, but I was definitely getting ready to bring it up and say, at what point do we acknowledge that this man is 5 fights into his career? You know, the problem is that he's being fast tracked. You see that's the game plan. You see where he's at in all the sanctioning bodies, the way they've ranked him. They want to put him, they're about to put him. He's going to get an opportunity soon to get into a top 5 fight. It's about to happen. That being said, is this a mistake? Is fast tracking this man a mistake at this point? Does Eddie Hearn pull back and allow him to continue to build himself up, or does he continue to move on in the same because his age is
I don't think it is. I think Clay, the way he should have done it in his first 3 years, we should have had the Abdullah Mason training method, right? We should have got him 3 or 4 fights a year. Build them up with lower competition. Build them up. Get them comfortable to the lights. Get them comfortable to the ring. Get them comfortable in these situations. So as he's moving up, we're 2 years later. Now he's taking on these better fights. He's now not 5-0. He's now 8, 9, 10-0 fighting these guys. And now his competition is better because he has his levels of fighting is better against his opponents because he's now understands his footwork, understands where he needs to be in the limelight. You know what I mean? How he has to attack, how to listen to his coach in this situation, as opposed to, you know what I mean? I'm just working with this guy. We're 5-0. We're pushing him, but he ain't ready yet. And Bosey's probably thinking the same thing. He ain't ready yet, but he knows he's ready enough that he can do it because he has the skill set to do it, and that happens. But then again, Clay, 2 cents boxing, because we have both 2 cents. So both salute to 4 cents in the building. You know what I mean? But when it comes down to what 2 Cents Boxing just said. He's 29. How slow do you want to take it? You know what I mean? So
I was gonna say that as well. Exactly. Like it's put the candle's burning at both sides. You got
right.
the fact that he's only got 5 pro fights, but he also has a window that seems to be closing in on him. You know what I mean? How long is he gonna be a prospect? Is Andy Cruz gonna be a prospect at 32 years old, 31 years old? Like, you know, you got to get him more active at least. If you're not gonna put him in there with the top 5 guys, then this guy needs to be fighting on an Abdullah Mason schedule, right? He needs to be fighting 3 to 5 times a year. You know what I mean? To get himself what we're talking about him having, because time is not on this man's side. This man is not a 17, 8. He's not a 21-year-old prospect. He's not a 22. You know what I mean? He's a 29-year-old prospect, and this is got to be part of the game with Andy Cruz. You know, we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. He looks like, and he's calling out for it, right? He's calling Keyshawn his son. He doesn't look like he's shying away from getting in these big fights. He seems to be aware of his window closing as well. He's also feeling like, you know, I got to take my opportunity. This is my time, right? So we got to see what's going to happen. Rumor is right now, I'm hearing that Maxie Hughes is actually trying to go ahead and get a fight with him. They want to do it for a WBA title eliminator. It seems like a legitimate fight, a logical fight, a practical fight for Andy Cruz at this point. Maxie Hughes looking to get back in a conversation. He was there at one point. We saw him get robbed with Kambosos, and then he jumped into a fight with, who did he just fight recently?
He fought right after Kambosos. He fought was it Kid Austin or was it Keyshawn?
No, it wasn't Kid Austin. It wasn't Keyshawn. It was
I'm gonna tell you right now, he got the brakes beat off him, bro. Sorry,
exactly.
Catterall, Jack Catterall.
Yeah, Jack Catterall took it to him, right? So he's looking to get his opportunity to get back in a conversation. Andy Cruz looking to get into some sort of title, you know, mandatory title type of position. He's trying to get there. What do you think about this fight? Andy Cruz versus Maxie Hughes for a WBA title eliminator. What do you think about it?
Challenging fight. It'll be a good fight. This is the scale that tips, right? Just to be the fight that Keyshawn had.
Right.
And I think it's a perfect timing for it. Yeah, why not? Listen, the guy wants to be fast tracked. Let's do it. Let's do it. I like to see it. And I think he see, that's a great matchup for him too. Because I think the way he fights, the way Andy Cruz fights and his skill set, he purposely dismantles Maxie Hughes, believe it or not.
No, I agree. I think Maxie Hughes is food for Andy. I think Andy gets an opportunity to shine and really show out the way Eddie wants him to shine, the way Bozy wants him to shine, the what they want from him. Maxie gives him the opportunity to do that.
Yep.
It sounds good, and it sounds like Maxie Hughes is the one actually pushing for this. It looks like the fight next, if you ask me.
Maxie Hughes is a puncher too, so you know what I mean. He can knock him out with a quick one.
For sure, I think it's a good fight. I think that's
absolutely that's a great fight.
Right, so Andy Cruz versus Maxie Hughes for a WBA title eliminator. Let's see if they can get it going. I think they need to get him active. Eddie, he's 29 years old. Eddie, I know you watch the show. You know what I mean. It's one of the best shows on the YouTube space right now. The best show, quite possibly the best shows, according to my co-host, for sure. So yeah, man, I think that's a fight that needs to be made. Maxie Hughes, Andy Cruz. Let's make that happen. Let's get him active. He's 29. He'll be 30 when is his birthday? When is his birthday?
Next week.
Yeah, next week, right? I know he's 29 now, man. And you know, I think somebody said it in the chat. You know how them Cubans be with those births.
Whoa. He's got Dominicans. Get it right.
Nah, he's Cuban.
Now I'm saying they got the Dominican birth certificates. I know what you're
the Cubans gonna do it. The Cubans do it too in basketball. They doing it too in baseball. They doing it, bro. You got the 18-year-old. You got the 18-year-old kid in the little league playing with the 12 and the 13-year-old.
Clay, we call it the Dominican birth certificate. That's what we say.
Okay. But regardless, he needs to be active. He needs to stay active. His window is closing in on him. He might be 5-0 on his record. That might show prospect numbers, but in reality, this is a 29-year-old grown-ass man, bro. Who he's either gonna barbecue or mildew at this point, right? He's gonna make it happen, or he's not gonna make it happen. And Keyshawn, did you get an opportunity to see him and Keyshawn's little interaction outside the ring?
I think Keyshawn is just who he is. You know what I mean? This is who he is. He plays hardball. He's been playing hardball with Frank Martin. He's been playing hardball with Andy Cruz. He was playing hardball with just recently with Gervonta Davis. Yeah. He played hardball with somebody else. I'm trying to think who else it was. And even called shots on it was Floyd Schofield, right? And Devin Haney at the same time, right? So he's played hardball with these guys. He does it to put he likes to create the media circus a little bit, which is cool. He did it the right way this time. He definitely did it the right way. He showed respect, but just a little bit, which was cool.
Right. Yeah,
you know
yeah. Right, so he wasn't gonna. I think it was awkward for him.
That's because look, put him off guard.
Right here you come. You calling me your son. Some rules. Some people might say I'm supposed to smack the fire out you, or we're not supposed to have like any type of a cordial a cordial relationship because you've been pretty much playing with my name, and anybody who mentions me mentions you, and it seems like you're kind of riding my coattails a little bit, like you're riding this energy that I'm coming in with, and here you are 5-0, and everybody's saying that the only fight that makes sense is me against you, but you have no professional career that says that. We just whatever we did in the Olympics or in the amateurs, fighting 3 rounds, 4 rounds can't be equivalent to 12 rounds of what I'm doing right now. But I kind of don't want to give you the respect, right? I don't want nobody to kind of see it, but here you are. At the same time, I'm not trying to make a scene out here and play myself and make this, make this situation ugly. So I'm going to give you the fist bump. But ain't no love here, man. We're not really trying to show you that kind of love. Right. I do think that Keyshawn, when you're talking about the amateur to the professional thing, it makes a difference, man. Having the ability to put out a game plan, right? They say professional fights don't really even start until like the 4th, 5th round, right? Like that's when the fight actually starts because you take those first 1 to 3 rounds, 1 to 4 rounds to process data, to see who you're dealing with, right? Not to mention the fact that we get a chance to train for each other, right? We're not in some weird tournament where, where I'm just fighting whatever style's in front of me. I actually prepare to fight you. Right. I think Keyshawn has shown that he's separating himself from whatever happened in the Olympics in the amateurs, right? He's separating himself from that situation. But Andy doing what he needs to do to keep himself in the conversation. He knows how to sell. He looks like he's selling the fight. He's selling the opportunity. I thought it was interesting, very entertaining to watch. We'll keep our eye on it. Let's see what Andy Cruz is going to do.
Shout out. Yes. And let's keep it real, Clay. At the same time, Andy Cruz last fight prior to this, he called out who? Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson,
right.
Zepeda. He's no longer looking at just one fighder now.
It was Zepeda.
Oh yes. It
was Zepeda.
Yes. Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
But yeah, absolutely, man. And speaking of call outs,
yeah. Shout out to Ernesto Mercado, man. Shout out to Ernesto Mercado. We saw him pull his victory, a 4th round stoppage over Jose Pedraza. That was a good fight. That was the way that fight was supposed to end, for Ernesto Mercado to even have any weight in what he's been doing, which is calling out these big fighters, right? What do you think about Ernesto Mercado at this point? I've been watching him for a minute. I think he's really like that. But is he biting off a little bit more than he can chew right now and coming at the Keyshawns and the Shakur Stevensons? Or
nope. I know what he's doing. I'm gonna tell you what he's doing. You're gonna laugh, right? He's playing Eddie's cards for him. Eddie wants Keyshawn at 140. Shakur at 140. He wants Shakur at 140.
Right.
And he knows that Keyshawn and Shakur probably not gonna fight and unify.
Right.
So what better thing to do to have this guy at 140 in the ring call you out? You know what worked great? You know where this happened at? Hagler Sugar Ray. This happened. Sugar Ray, one was a welterweight, Hagler was a middleweight. Still calling out Sugar Ray in the ring, in press conferences, everywhere you went. Eddie Hearn's he's a smart guy, bro. And this fight will be big, even if it's a catchweight fight. This will be a big fight. Shakur even said it, like, bro, and shout out to other content creators out there that took notice. Like, this guy's a 140 pounder. Why is he calling out a 135 pounder?
Right.
No need for that. No need. Why? You know what I mean? He was very, very quickly dismissed Keyshawn, who was there, but really focused on Shakur.
Right.
I'm telling you, Eddie.
Now, listen, man, my mind is running in the same space as you are. People say that they don't expect Shakur to go 140, that they want Shakur to stay. Shakur's even been talking about it, that more than likely he would stay at 135. But, at some point, between this Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson situation that's manifesting, somebody's going to have to move. Somebody's going to have to move out the way. It's going to happen. If Keyshawn does what he's supposed to do against Dennis Berinchek, then you have, you've got either Vasily Lomachenko's going to retire or he's going to fight, right? And if he does fight, who does he fight next? Is it going to be Tank, or does Bob Arum and him try to coordinate something that holds up a little bit more weight? In other words, I think it would be vested interest for Bob Arum to look to unify that belt somewhere on that top-ranked roster. So it would either be the winner between Raymond Moratala and Zaur Abdullaev, I hope I'm saying his name correct, who will become the IBF champion, being that's if Vasily Lomachenko is unable to defend his title. And even if he goes into a champion in recess or something of that nature, I don't know, or if he just retires altogether, you would think that Bob would try to line up the winner between Dennis Berinchek and Keyshawn Davis. We're assuming it'll be Keyshawn, to give him an opportunity to go ahead and unify, right? If he does unify there, well, now we got a huge fight, a big unification title fight that's there between Keyshawn or the winner and Tank Davis, right? To make a big unification fight. That's if Tank and Shakur don't fight each other. Keyshawn, in my opinion, is the more exciting fight. I think people still want to see Shakur fight Tank more, but I think after a while, people will either accept that fight is not in the stars right now, or, you know what I'm saying, and look for the next thing. And it looks like the next thing would be Keyshawn Davis, especially if he found a way to unify himself in that division. Shakur just has no space in that. If he's not going to fight, if he's not going to be willing to fight Keyshawn, he's not going to get the opportunity to fight Vasily Lomachenko, in my opinion. I don't think Bob is going to co-sign that and make that happen. There's a lot of beef there, a lot of across-the-street politics right there. I don't know if I could see Shakur fighting Vasily Lomachenko, or even a Raymond Moratala or Zaur Abdullaev, who wins that fight. Tank is the person on the outside who looks like he can get those fights put together. But what does Shakur do at that point if he can't get the big fights? I know people are looking at Keyshawn and saying that he's the bigger one between him and Shakur. Keyshawn is the bigger guy, right? Pause. I hope that I don't need to put a pause in there, but he's the guy who you would think more naturally could adapt to 140 pounds. But there are opportunities for Keyshawn Davis at 135. Are the same opportunities there for Shakur at this point?
I think so. As long as he's going to be on these turkey bags, I think he does have opportunity. I mean, hey, money talks, right? I could even see the Keyshawn and Shakur fight happening at some point, if within the next year or two. Likelihood of it, 20% of 100, but still happening, right? There's a positive to it. It can happen. As far as Shakur being there and being able to make headlines and make waves for himself, absolutely. Listen, he already has bad blood with Loma. You see what happened in the Bud fight. I thought that was a build-up, being that Bob was there and they were sitting next to each other. Oscar was there. They were all sitting in the same line. Shakur, Oscar, Turkey, Bob, Eddie. They're all sitting right there in the front row, right? And what did he turn and do? Him and Loma got into it, and Loma was there too. Right. I thought that was something they were trying to build on purpose. I thought that was like staged, believe it or not, in my opinion. They were trying to build that fight. I think they had some equity involved in that. But then again, Shakur's been calling Loma out. As far as it goes to Shakur making that move, it looks like the right move. And as far as his hand situations or whatever, that's all bogus. As far as him being able to make 140, easy work for Shakur. As far as him being able to go up there and dominate and beat anybody, we don't know.
Yeah. You kind of froze up a little bit. Okay, you're back. I think what's going to happen is Shakur's going to play up that 140. And I think he'll go back and forth, because I think he's actually really a 135 pounder. I think he is. I think he can fight 135. I think he's comfortable there. I don't see him leaving the division as far as running from it, but I think somebody's going to have to make moves at 140 and open up the lanes a little bit at 135, because how are both those guys going to coexist? And I think it would be kind of like a disservice of Keyshawn Davis to lose out on the opportunity to fight a Tank Davis if that fight is really on the table for him to run and go to 140 and not get an opportunity to fight Tank or unify or do none of those things that potentially are there for him. So I thought it was interesting. I like what I saw Ernesto Mercado doing. I know some people thought it was tasteless. They were like, "Oh, this guy's biting off when he can chew. What has he done to earn a fight with a Shakur Stevenson?" I don't play that. I'm the guy who liked what Floyd Schofield did with Shakur. I like the fact that Floyd Schofield went and got the fight with Shakur. I like that Keyshawn's calling out Tank. When people didn't like that, I like that. And and I like
this.
That's
the fighters do, Clay.
Exactly. And I like to see what Ernesto's doing. I like, I thought it was in good spirit. Shakur obviously responding to it, right? Shakur acknowledged him in his own way, told him to get off my privacies, off of my situations. That's my woman's territory. That's my woman's, property. She doesn't like sharing. You know what I mean? You get off my get off my situation. Making it clear that, bro, I don't even know you, but Ernesto's like, you need to get to know me because I'm looking to beat you. Look, what do you think about the Ernesto Mercado performance against Jose Pedraza? Let's go into it. What do you think about
it? Thank you. So look, this is what I'm gonna say. He has the right to talk that ish, right? Because what did he do? He did what Keyshawn could not do. And I'm not trying to play Keyshawn out. That boy stopped him, KO'd in the ring early in the fight.
Keyshawn stopped him too.
No, huh?
Keyshawn stopped Pedraza. Okay.
Yeah. But he stopped him at 135. You know what I mean? The guys are 140, 147 pounds, and 144 possibly.
Okay.
He had a more healthier Pedraza.
Okay.
Pedraza just looked like he's just washed up, though. I mean, whatever the case is, he's just a stepping stone.
It was a rabbit punch, too.
Yeah, it was. It was. Listen, hey, granted.
It's part of boxing. That's where he put his head at. That's what he got. Yeah.
Yeah. He put his head in the way, right?
Yeah.
And
for sure.
He went down. And regardless, a lot of people seen this as a stoppage. And I was like, yo, this is crazy work. But hey, listen, man, whatever works. I don't care. Just get all these guys in the ring. It's too many people to be. Just have a Royal Rumble. You know what I mean? WWE style. Let them all fight it out.
Let them all just get it in.
Each division.
It looks like we're heading in that direction, right? And I see 2 cents put up in there. Let me put up what 2 cents said right quick. She says, y'all don't think we should encourage Keyshawn and Kerr to fight? We'll always encourage them to fight, but at some point you have to accept what's going to be and what's not going to be. And if they're dead set on not fighting each other, I'm not into really kicking. I'm not into fighters who don't want to fight each other. I'm not like as soon as Canelo said he wasn't fighting David Benavidez, I kind of left it alone. I called, I felt like Canelo ducked him, you know what I mean? This, that, and the other. But at the same time, I think, Benavidez did the same, right? He moved on. I would love to see Shakur and Keyshawn fight each other, but at the same exact time, they've made it so clear. They're so adamant on not fighting each other. Now I'm more concerned about pushing that one of them leave the division then. That's my thing, right? So if you're not going to fight each other, my push is going to be, all right, well, one of y'all got to leave. Okay, if you're not going to fight each other, I don't want to see you guys in the same division, holding titles in the same division, refusing to fight each other. That's going to be just cringe to watch that. I don't need to see no nonsense. That's kind of soft. Yeah, no doubt. That's kind of soft in my opinion. Like I don't want to hear about that nonsense. If you guys aren't going to fight each other, then one of y'all need to move on to 140 and let's see. Don't hold up the unifications. Don't hold up the potential undisputed fights that could be there, especially at a fight at 135 pounds when you got Tank, you got Vasily, Keyshawn there, you got Raymond Moritala trying to shake it up a little bit. And then you got these other fighters that are moving along that's going to make it interesting at 135 as well, right? You're holding up Abdullah Mason potentially doing something at some point in his career. You got Andy Cruz there. You got fighters there that can make it interesting. Floyd Schofield is in the picture. There's fighters who can make 135 interesting, who want to fight each other. If you're not going to, I'm going to ask that, you guys keep it moving and get out the way if you're not going to fight each other. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's where I'm at with that situation right there. What was I at before? As far as Ernesto Mercado and Jose Pedraza, I thought the fight was a good fight. I like how Jose was showing his poise, staying behind that jab, understanding that Jose Pedraza was trying to be irky-jerky and trying to move around a lot, trying to bait him into something so he could walk him into something. He didn't bite. He was very disciplined in that fight. I think Ernesto Mercado is going to be part of some huge fights. I could see him fighting Keyshawn Davis at 140. I could see him fighting Shakur Stevenson. I could see him fighting a Teofimo Lopez. I could see him in there with the Rayo Venezuelas. And that Ernesto Mercado I saw in the ring with Jose Pedraza, it made me I'm interested in seeing the way he looks at 140, right? Even fighting against Jermaine Ortiz. Like so many fights you can see that kid in with that attitude, with that energy, asking for the big fights. you know, he seems like he's a dude who you can sell to the boxing space. Want to see him do a lot of great things. Let me pull it up. I think Ray's out the way for a minute. Let him be where he's at for now. What's going on here? Encourage Tank to fight Shakur. No doubt, Crypto. Crypto Chris, no doubt, man. I mean, obviously that's a fight we want to see. But once again, when it comes to that Tank conversation, I'm on that same energy, guys. If Tank, I'm not going to be more motivated than Tank. I need to see Tank want the fights. I need to see Tank want to make the fights. Right now, I don't believe Tank wants to fight any of these people. And it's not about Tank being scared. It's just about whether or not he wants to, if he doesn't. I'm not pushing Tank to do what Tank doesn't want to do. So when Tank gets back into beating people up who think they can beat him up, making the fights that the fans want to see, when he gets into legacy, when he gets into those conversations, I'll be right here. Those are the biggest fights that I want to see. But if Tank wants to go ahead and just fight who he feels like fighting and you know, work his way to a retirement at the end of the year, I'm going to support that as well. But I just can't continue to keep pushing this man to do things great in this sport and constantly getting hated on by the boxing space for doing it, right? I'm just tired of it. I'm just not going to sit here and be that guy, not going to sit here and just be that guy who's asking Tank to make these fights, you know what I'm saying? And he doesn't want to fight these fights. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it no more. I don't got it in me anymore to be a quote-unquote Tank hater, because I don't think I am. I just want to see him fight the best, but I am done with this pushing Tank to do things that he doesn't want to do. So no more me saying Tank needs to fight Shakur, Tank needs to fight Teofimo, Tank needs to fight. I don't care no more. That's where I'm at with it. I'm looking forward to see him fight Lamont Roach. That's who he has next. Let's see that fight happen. I don't care about any other fights. I'm done with it. I'm done at this point. At this point,
remember, in all these fighters that left the division, I don't even want to hear his name involved with him no more. Y'all just making it ridiculous. It's
Devin's going to 147. Please stop bringing up Devin fighting against Tank. I don't care about that fight no more.
Nope.
That fight is done for me. You know, that's where I'm at with it, man. I'm done. I'm done fighting the fight, man. I hope you guys don't look at me as a quitter, but I'm done. I don't do it no more. I ain't got it in me. Shout out to Stick Talk Richie in the building. I hope I didn't. Let's see what he said. He said, I am tired of the Tank talk. Hypothetically, if he knocks out Key and Curl, all people are going to do is find somebody else they want to beat him because of the hate and envy and the fact people want to diminish. Yeah. See, like statements like this, I'm not going to lie, Stick Talk. I get where you're coming from. I really do. I get where you're coming from, but at the same exact time, there's another part of me that's just like, damn it, that's why I don't want to push for the Tank fights no more. This type of talk, right? Because of the idea that, he's going to knock out this guy, he's going to knock out that guy, we're never going to be satisfied, so why should he fight anybody that we want him to fight? Because we'll never be. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about, right? Not for nothing. You know what I mean? Not for nothing, but that's what I'm talking about. I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of tired of that nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to see Tank fight who Tank's fighting next. When we're having these conversations about unifications, about undisputed, about legacy, I'm not going to bring Tank up in this conversation. It's just going to be a waste of my time, and it's just going to fall on deaf ears and turn into me hating on Tank, because I'm going to have to keep it honest and keep it real, and y'all don't want to hear that. Y'all want to hear me, you know what I'm saying, get his dude accolades he hasn't earned, and I can't be the bad guy forever, man. It's not the WWE, man. I don't like being a bad guy forever, man. It is what it is. Shout out to Warlock Boxing. Shout out. Let me see. What did 2 Cents say here? He said, Tank don't want to fight nobody. Cool. Shakur, Keyshawn don't want to fight each other. Cool. Keep that same energy. Okay. Yep. I'm down with that, 2 Cents. I'm 100% right on board with you, brother. That's where I'm at. That kind of taught me Tank don't ever. Let's see here. That kind of taught me Tank don't ever have to fight no one. I swear these Tank trains are anti-sports. Secret Dance Move. That is the talk we're talking about. He don't have to fight nobody. But at the same time, we don't got to give him the accolades, right? We don't have to give him the great accolades, the legacy accolades. We don't have to involve in those conversations. We shouldn't be forced to do that either. So if he's not going to give us the fights that we're looking for to see, so we can actually, so the boxes we need checked and be checked, we can respect that. But at the same time, until those boxes are checked, then you're not going to get these other accolades that come with those boxes being checked. It is what it really is. You know what I mean? When it comes down to
trick question, don't answer it.
Teach said, just like Canelo, we expect Tank to rise the occasion as one of the face of boxing. There are certain expectations. Exactly, Teach. It's just boxes being checked. That's it. And if he doesn't want to check them, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I'm okay with that. And we can move on and talk about other great things that's going on in boxing. There's so many great things happening on in boxing, right? Now, let's talk about these rumors on Shakur Stevenson's hands, man. Let's talk about these rumors. Do I still have that picture up here of his hands? I know I did. And I wanted his hands look crazy. Shakur Stevenson's hands got a lot of scar tissue on it. Obviously, the surgery was done on his hands, you know what I mean? But rumors going around about his hands being injured, right? Rumors going around about his hands being injured. But it's coming back that, you know, obviously they're not injured. That's what that's what people from what are you reading something? I see your face.
Yeah. I don't understand. I'm sorry, Clay. Let me just get off script for a second.
No, go ahead.
I try to stay out the whole Tank thing just now, but what I just read just solidifies exactly what the hell we say every single time. Bro, it has nothing to do with these guys bringing a bag to the ring for the fight. They are the bag. Let's stop making this excuse. He fights these guys, they make more money. End of story. That's just an excuse that you guys, he needs to go make money and do pay-per-views and he needs to stop it, bro. I don't want to hear this no more, bro. It's old news. It's the same excuse every time. He's fighting people that don't have pay-per-views. He's fighting people from other divisions that never made a bag. Stop it. Your excuses are lame. I'm done. All right, check. I'm good.
Yeah, and not to mention Turkey's in the conversation now, so there's a bag there if that's what's needed. It's not an excuse anymore. It's just about will he or won't he. That's it. You will or you won't. That's what it comes down. It has nothing to do with building up any type of anything. The hype behind the fight is built up of the strength that the whole boxing space wants to see the fight. On every platform of any pugilist or analyst in the game that you ask what's the biggest fight that could be made right there, it's going to float between three fights. Gervonta Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson, Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez, or Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? These are the three biggest fights probably off the top of my head that I could think that could be made in boxing. The hype has already been built up behind the fight. There's no, he needs to do more work. It's not, that's not the case. And just like my co-host said.
Did you see the dumb comment that came after?
Hold on.
When the hell did Inoue fight for the bag? When? Stop.
It is what it is.
Hector, go ahead, man. I'm done. Yo, listen, seriously, no more Tank talk. Not you. Guys, please, change the conversation. Please.
He pulled up Hector Garcia. Hector Garcia didn't prove himself. He fought Frank Martin. Frank Martin didn't prove himself and show that he could sell and all those things. These are these excuses, and that's why we move away from the conversation, because it's not a conversation that you guys are going to really want to have, because it's going to look like we're hating, and it has nothing to do with hating. It's just about being honest. The fight is either going to get made or it's not going to be made at this point. It has nothing to do with none of that. The money's there now. The buildup is there now. Everybody wants to see the fight. That has nothing to do with it. It's either they're going to fight or they're not going to fight. Is Shakur a bigger name than Inoue, yes or no? What does it matter?
Absolutely he is. Absolutely. Olympian, multiple division champion just like him, and they want to see him. They're in the same division. Why do I care about Inoue, who's 3 divisions away, 4 possibly? Why?
Oh, so it's Bub talking crazy.
Yeah,
Bub's up here talking crazy.
Go ahead, man. You good, bro. You good.
It is what it is.
Hold on, Clay. We don't want to see America take the fight somewhere else, right? We don't want to see our American fighters fight each other and make boxing great. Come on with that nonsense, bro. Y'all live on 2 sides of the street. Y'all don't even know which way is backwards or forward. Go ahead, man. I'm done.
Yeah, I don't think Shakur is a bigger name than Monster Inoue in the boxing space. I don't believe
he is. Absolutely he is.
I don't think he is.
Absolutely. But, internationally, probably not.
No, that's what I'm saying. On the world is bigger than America, bro. You know what I'm saying? Maybe in America it's the biggest. He's the bigger name than Inoue. But
I'm assuming that's what he's talking about.
On an international platform, I'm talking about packing out 90,000 people, 80,000 people in the stadium. I think Monster Inoue gives him access to that. And if that's what he wants to do, that's okay. He'll be bringing up a smaller fighter again. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, hopefully he meets him halfway and they fight at 130 or something like that. You know what I mean? And that fight will be, if that's the fight, if that's the fight Tank wants to give us, that's the fight we'll have to take. You know what I'm saying? Because that's Tank's prerogative to do that. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But I also don't believe that the reason he's not fighting Shakur is because of money or draw or anything like that. I don't believe that, because
look, I'm glad you said
money,
that right on point.
There's money behind that fight. Shakur and Tank fighting each other is money. It's a big pay-per-view. It's a big deal. Everybody knows it is. Whatever his reasons are, let it be his reasons. If he's going to give us Monster anyway, then that'll be the fight. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a big fight. It's going to be a huge fight. It's going to do great numbers. Tank is going to make a whole lot of money, and so will Monster. And there's a good chance that Turkey's going to be involved in that fight getting put together as well, being that now Monster anyway is working with Turkey. You know what I'm saying? That he's an ambassador of Riyadh season now. So, you know, let the cards lay where the cards lay at. Shakur said it best as well. He doesn't need to fight Tank. He can go ahead and fight other fights and make his legacy and make his money. And obviously Tank can do what he does and make his money in his
Let's see who get to the Hall of Fame first.
And his legacy, anyway, I guess, as well.
Where's his fan base at again? You still got that picture of his fan base? Because that's what I'm seeing right now.
It is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? But staying on topic, what was on the screen about his hands going into this fight. Shakur's hands getting this surgery right now, supposedly getting this completely healed, full circle coming around, and basically, I don't want to say making excuses, but maybe we might say making excuses, but I'll say just pretty much referencing the reason why he performed the way he did his last couple of fights was because of hand injuries that he was dealing with. I actually believe it. I believe that that's probably why he wasn't sitting on his punches and letting his hands go the way we would want to see it. You saw Wally Moses pushing at him. Come on, let your hands go. You saw what he did against Edwin De Los Santos. And obviously we saw that he just recently had a surgery. If you look on his fist right here, I was trying to find that picture, which I had focused on his hands. His hands are beat up, man. So I understand where people are coming up with this hand injury situation and trying to like kind of call it in the future a little bit. Call it and say that his hands are going to be injured before this Schofield fight. Do you think his hands are healed up at this point? Is that what you feel about it? Yeah. Do you think at this point they're on point?
Yeah, absolutely. One, cartilage makes your bones stronger anyway. You know what I mean? So It is what it is. Him getting the surgery is probably some type of bone callus that he had from fighting so long, and they had to remove some of that callus, because that callus, what happens, it'll start breaking underneath the skin, and that can cause irritation and uncomfort. So he probably had to get rid of some of those scar tissues, those callus and things like that, with the calcium buildup. So combination of things will do that. But hey, we're gonna find out. That's all. We're gonna find out for sure. And when he put this little boy on his butt, knocked him out.
You think he stops Schofield?
I think he stops him, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
and guess what? When he do, I don't want to hear nobody say nothing.
Does he need to stop him?
Huh?
Does he need to stop him?
No, he don't need to stop him. He don't need to. But Floyd gonna walk into something. He just gonna walk into it. He gonna walk into it. He gonna do it to himself. Shakur gonna play very close, man. He's gonna be very smart about it. Shakur gonna walk into something, and I'm sorry, Schofield gonna walk into something, and Shakur's just going. He said it. He said it without saying it. Listen to what he said. How he fights, right? He's like, "Look, man, I was young and hungry too," right? In that interview. He goes, but sometimes we forget, like, there's a reason why certain people are champions. Like, I see where he wants to be and how he wants to go. I did that. The difference is I listened and waited my turn. I didn't just jump into the ring of fire. This dude gonna jump in the ring of fire and get a left hook at the same time and lights out. When you get hurt, you're gonna see wobbly legs.
Yeah, I'm expecting Shakur to have a performance. Like he said, he wants to steal the show. I think he should be looking to steal the show. He should be looking to make a statement. This is his first fight under the Matchroom banner. This is the first fight with Turkey. The experience should be, he has an opportunity on an international stage to build a fan base. You know what I'm saying? He has the opportunity to a second chance at building a fan base. He wasn't able to do this in America. I mean, he has his support in Newark. In New Jersey, and he has some fans that support him, but he's considered boring. He's considered pillow-fisted. He's not considered an exciting fighter. This is his chance to change that narrative, right? He gets to move that into a whole different into another space in front of an international crowd, and gets to become a big star on a big stage and have somebody like Turki Al-Sheikh paying and financing his way to the top of the top. Shout out to Texas 16.
Shout out. Look, I was laughing at him too. Look, he said Austin, Texas 512, right? I'm like, yo, I ain't mad at you. I'm not mad at you. But listen, let's keep it real, right? Shakur in Houston. You know what I mean? He's a resident of Houston. So at the same time, they both Texas boys at this point. Shakur adopted that town. He represents Jersey, but he adopted that Houston life. So, you know what I mean? Hey, pick your poison, bro.
Yeah. Shout out to
Kid Austin from Jersey too.
I ain't seen him in forever. Hope everything been good with you, Texas.
Kid Austin from Jersey too. So they both adopted their cities.
We'll go 12. Oh, you don't think it's gonna be a stoppage? Okay, I see what.
And that's possible. It's possible. If it go 12, I feel bad for him, bro. Because you're gonna start seeing dirty tactics by the 9th round from Kid Austin. He's gonna be outmatched, and you're gonna start seeing dirty tactics, and it's gonna be crazy.
No doubt.
Mud wrestling. Pause.
Shout out to Gavin Goins in the building, man. Gavin Goins putting some color in the chat, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the support here. It says, I saw Sean Porter say he's sparring Shakur next week after seeing the real version. The Timu version will be like, damn. Okay, man. Look, man. Look, you earned the second guessing, but you also earn the accolades if you're able to make this fight what it's supposed to be.
Right.
You know, so it's on Shakur, man. He's earned it, man. He has been involved in his last two fights haven't been that, especially coming off that Edwin De Los Santos fight on a Thursday night. He's earned all the criticism, all the scrutiny. He's earned it, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It is what it is, man. But you know, you get an opportunity. This is a huge stage. Better Be Bivol 2. This is a huge pay-per-view, quite possibly the best card. They're talking about this is the best boxing card of all time, damn near, the way they're talking about it. Definitely in our lifetime, in our era. That's what they're saying.
I don't know, man. There's some good cards.
Good. I don't know. This card, I've done this.
This is a lit card. This is a lit card, but I think a lot of turkey cards has been lit, bro.
This card right here, we can go through it, but I mean, it is non-stop crazy.
The 5 versus 5 was a lit card.
Nah, it was a lit card. It turned out to be a lit card, but I don't think this card on face value on paper is amazing, bro. It's amazing, bro. Like each one of these fights on this card could be a headline to a card.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of them, from the bottom to the top. The weakest card on here is probably Buatsi and Caleb Smith, and we know. I'm telling you, that fight's not gonna. That fight's gonna be crazy. You got Virgil Ortiz against Madrimov on this card. You got, you know what I'm saying. You got Daniel Dubois versus.
Wasn't that other Usyk card pretty good too?
No, they were. These were great cards, but this card is. I'm telling you, I think it's the best one.
I remember last year we was talking about the first Usyk Fury fight. We was talking about how great of a card that was.
You're right. But this one's just better. I'm telling you. Just like, look at it. We're gonna talk about it as we get closer to it.
I see what you go. I see where you're going. I see where
those were great cards. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're right.
You can only get. Here's what I'm gonna say. You can only get better, right? You can't stay at the same plateau. You got to move up, or you're not gonna get better. All right, I got you, Clay.
It looks crazy. I don't know. Just I was looking at it the other day and I was like, damn, man, look at like every fight. Like, I don't want to miss not one fight on that card. Like, I don't care. Not one fight. Every fight has to be caught. It is what it is.
I mean, I guess because Ben Whitaker did the backflip out the ring, hurt his shoulder, broke his leg.
With the fake length.
Right.
He throws his leg, right? Or his
I'm calling it everything. Oh, that was Menard that hurt his shoulder. My bad.
It is what it is.
But yeah, man. Yeah, I got you, Clay. Yeah, that kind of threw that card out the window, right?
There was some great cards, man, but this one seems like it's going to be.
I'm just teasing.
He gets to perform on a stage like this where everybody's going to be watching on an international level. One of the best cards. He wants to steal that show. He wants to be the fight that everybody talks about on that card. That's a big task right there. And if he does that, if he is the biggest fight on that card, if it turns out his fight is the most exciting fight and he was the MVP of that card, bro, Shakur Stevenson has calibrated, reinvigorated, and recharged his whole entire career and the trajectory where he's going next. They'll be pushing
Ross in the building.
They'll be pushing Tank to fight that dude March 1st. Tank won't be able to even enjoy his victory against Lamont because they're gonna be like, yo, Shakur just did this on February 22nd last week. Yo, they're gonna be bothering him. Tank gonna be throwing drinks and everything at the reporters and the media, at the media people. They're gonna be all on him. You know what I mean?
You're gonna really relax his hair, bro.
if he puts that performance out there, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Buy another Chrome Heart chair.
It is what it is, man. But let's push. Now Andy just won a title eliminated for the WBC. Shakur has an Andy Cruz mandatory.
Bro, super chat told me from this guy. I don't want to hear it.
I don't think Andy. That wasn't no WBC title.
It was not. It was not.
Yeah, Bob. I'm sorry. Nah, he didn't. He's actually about to fight a WBA title eliminated. I don't think that's what that fight was at all. I don't think it was eliminated at all. But maybe it was. I don't know. But Teofimo Lopez strikes his 3-fight deal with Turkey. Wanted to talk about that a little bit. I thought that was interesting. I think that's great. Teofimo, I've always told you guys, I think he does well in the big fights, man. He steps up and he gives us great fights with the big fights. He always seems to play down to his competition. Turkey seems to be on the same page with him, sees that. I'm actually happy for him. As much as he's done all the cringe antics trying to make fights happen, it wasn't going to work. What works is getting some money behind you like Turkey Al-Ashik. Get somebody with some money. You make these fights worthwhile. It's going to be easier for these fights to happen. It looks like Turkey wants to go ahead and go talk to your boy Blue. So Blue, Bub's gonna we get that in a minute. We're gonna open up the panel anyway. So we get to talk about all that in a minute. But so it looks like the game plan is Richard Hitchinson first, then the winner of Richard Hitchinson first, then Boots, right? Second. And he's working himself out the division to go up to 147, ultimately to go ahead and fight the winner Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. That's the game plan, right? That's what they want to do. What do you think about this new deal with Turkey and Teofimo? Putting your feelings aside of what the antics that he does, just speaking.
I mean, listen, what your performances and your job is different from your antics and your lifestyle. Right. I don't have to agree with your lifestyle based on what you do as an entertainer. I think Teal's always shown to be a poised entertainer, and yes, he lives for the moment. That's why he adopted no longer being Teofimo, whatever he calls himself, to the showman. Right, the showman is the guy he wants to be. You don't the takeover, right? He's no longer the takeover. He's a showman now. Right. Why? Because he wants to show people when he gets to that stage, when he gets to that point, that he is that guy. And we'll see. We're gonna get to watch. Hitchens is a great start. I think that's a bad matchup for Hitchens in a weird way. I do think Hitchens has the ability to stop Teal because Teal has been suspect to stopping the jab, suspect to stopping the guy moving backwards, and we have to see how he does with somebody like Richardson Hitchens. That's a good 50-50 fight, bro, at the end of the day. As far as Boots, Teal is not quite a mirror image of Boots, but a very select fighter that is a phone booth fighter like Boots. He knows once he's in that phone booth, he knows angles, he knows how to throw he throws that like that what's the harpoon or whatever jab when he's in that close quarter. And he knows how to get, his body in certain positions where he can make certain people miss and counter. He's a very good counter pitch fighter in the phone booth. So that's a great fight for Boots. And I think he's seen something when he's seen the Karen fight. But the thing is, does Teal have the chin? Does Teal have the endurance? Does Teal have the will to fight these guys? That's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? Like I told you before, I said I still think that Campbell plays a big part in Teal's mind. This may change. The money may change who he is. But then I still think that plays a big part. And that as long as that haunts him, people are going to always ask those questions, and it's going to be a big problem. Every fight going forward from now for Teofimo, especially that he moved to 140.
Yeah, I think there's multiple things going on in this fight, and I'm definitely with Texas 16 on this one. But Texas, I gotta let you know it's a unification fight. There's no clause on this one. You know what I'm saying? I think this works out for Hitchinson because I think Hitchinson gets to fight at his true weight. He doesn't have to deal with the clause because it's a unification title fight. So at the end of the day, I think we're going to look at a great Hitchens. I think what we saw with Jermaine Ortiz, what we saw with Sandor Martin, and what we saw with Kambosos is going to be a point, and is going to be a point to look at in this fight. T.O. doesn't look like he's dealing with the boxers and the movers and the finesses as well as people would like to see him do it. I don't want to say T.O.'s digressed, right? But I will say when he fought against the T.O. that I saw fight against Lomachenko, I have not seen him return. I don't know what happened to that Teofimo. He became a fighter who became, what he did against Josh Taylor was cool, but once again, that still wasn't the T.O. who fought against Lomachenko. That T.O. needs to be available to fight against the Devin Haney's, against the Richard Hitchinsons, against the Sandor Martins. You know what I'm saying? He's got to be available even against Alberto Puelos. He's got to become available. That T.O. has to resurface. But once again, not having to, right? Some people might want to say he hasn't had to do it. And when you push his back against the wall, T.O. does seem to step up. And now he has a new trainer added to his team in Eddie Reynoso. He has other things that he's implemented in the game. Looks like the father's become more humble. He's not as vocal as he once was. He's still very vocal. Senior's still there doing what he does, but he's not as forefront. He looked like he's letting T.O. take the front. You didn't see Teofimo Sr. at the Ring Magazine Gala. You didn't see Teofimo Sr., floating around, giving random interviews, writing checks his son got to cash. I'm actually very interested in seeing this, what I'm calling new version of Teofimo. He's been building up to making these big fights for a while now. We saw what he did with Subriel Matias. Let's be honest. You can say whatever you want to say, but I think most people would call that a duck. He got out the way of that smoke and didn't fight Subriel Matias, but he's always talking about how he's getting himself ready to make the biggest fights. I'm going to be very interested in seeing what he does. Now that Turki Al-Sheikh is in the conversation, I tell you guys all the time, Turki Al-Sheikh has a way of motivating these guys to be the best version of themselves. They understand how important it is to perform for Turki. These fighters get in there and they give it all because they know the money's there, the opportunity's there. They're not so scared of losing because as long as the fight is super competitive and they put their best out there, they'll get an opportunity at redemption. So we're going to see, in my opinion, I'm looking to see at least Teofimo put it all out on the line, put it all on the line against Hitchinson. This is an opportunity for him as well to get involved in that Turki Al-Sheikh conversation. He's already, working with Eddie Hearn. So he has a connection there with Turki, but I don't think he's had a real opportunity to really get that money and really get into those big fights. This is going to be a huge opportunity for him. You think it happens in Madison Square Garden or in New York? This is where this fight happens, right? Brooklyn?
Yep.
Exactly.
Nope, MSG, Manhattan.
No doubt. No doubt. The fight for Brooklyn in Madison Square Garden, huge fight, pay-per-view fight. It's what T.O.'s been asking for. And then people are talking about him and Boots next. They don't think it's going to happen. I ain't going to lie to you because I think it does happen. I think as long as Boots walks away with this victory with Stanionis on April 12th, he becomes a unified champion. I think he'll hang out at 147 as long as he doesn't have to deal with that rehydration clause. That's a big money fight to fight Teofimo in Madison Square Garden or in New York. That's a huge money fight. He owes Turki one because he already kind of left Turki hanging with that Virgil Ortiz fight. I don't see him turning down 2 fights with Turki Al-Sheikh. I don't see Eddie Hearn allowing that to happen. I'll say it like this. If he walks away from Turki Al-Sheikh for a second time, I can see Eddie Hearn walking away from Boots at that point. Like, let's finish the deal, and we don't even need to make a new deal. If you're going to – because there's so much money on the table that to continue to sit there and not fight these fights and keep on bringing legacy and that what is that fight? Bro, it's money, bro. You're a prize fighter, bro. There's money at 154. There's money now with Teofimo at 147. If you get out the way of this fight, I don't know if I even want to deal with you on a business level anymore. Am I crazy?
No, absolutely not. And I think what's even better is he gets to fight an elite opponent, regardless if he's coming up or not, right? But let's look at it this way. That fight happens in Atlantic City, Clay. Philly, New York, right there, Jersey. That happens. And I think it may even Newark Prudential Center. But yeah, if Boots gets out the way of this fight, it will have to be that he's not interested in Devin. He's not interested in Ryan. He's not interested in T.O. He's not interested in anybody under that. Only way he gets out if he moves up to 154. Right. And he said, you know what? I unified. I need to go challenge myself. These guys can have this playground. I'm good. I'm on the basketball court. I'm no longer in the sand pit. Let's move forward. So that's the way I look at it at the end of the day.
Yeah, man. I see 2 Cents said Do it for Turkey's crazy work. Listen, man, it is what it is, right? I'm not saying do it for him like do a favor. What I'm saying is Boots. Let's talk about Boots. Let's talk about Jerron Boots Ennis first. Let's go ahead and get into this next fight, right? Let's get into the Stanionis Jerron Boots in April 12th, right? Big fight for Jerron Boots Ennis. Boots decided to walk away from an opportunity to go up to 154, fight Virgil Ortiz for a big bag of money, go into a division that's full of fights for him to make. He upset the whole boxing space, right? Me and you, Ray, we've been talking for well over a year, and I'm being nice because it's probably been, we've been talking for damn near as long as me and you have been building. We've been talking about how we wanted to see Jerron Boots Ennis move on to 154, forget 147. Terrence was holding on to all the belts. He wasn't interested in fighting Boots. He wasn't interested in vacating the belts. The division was stale, to say the least. None of the other fighters wanted to fight him. Mario Barros didn't want him. Stanionis didn't want to fight him. None of the other fighters that were in the division wanted to fight for unifying interim belts, right? And belts that weren't even holding the weight because of Terrence. And we said, listen, man, he's wasting his energy and his talents. We want to see him go to 154. But then Terrence goes ahead and makes his move to 154, frees up a bunch of belts. Now we got Brian Norman, who went ahead and performed just great against Santillan, and we saw him being an exciting fighter. At the end of that fight, I was like, I think we found Boots a dance partner. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, all these champions that were interims and the Mario Barrioses and the Stanionises, their belts got elevated into full championships, just like Boots did. The division caught some light. We wanted to see these fights get put together. His manager dies in Cameron Duncan. Rest in peace to Cameron Duncan. He finds a home with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom. Eddie Hearn jumps on the same page with him. We're like, all right, let's see what happens. Then we saw that Brian Norman negotiation go left. It was messy, nasty, public. It didn't add up to nothing. We were like, Boots, come on, bro. At this point, go to 154. At this point, look what they're doing to not fight you. Go to 154, right?
Right.
Then we seen him fight against David Avanesian in Philly. We're like, yo, Eddie Hearn's doing a great job. Look at him. He put him in the Wells Fargo Center. They making him, the city came out for him. We're like, yo, that's what's up. Boots is doing his thing. Then we went ahead and we saw him fight against Karen. We saw that after, obviously with that mix up with that Brian Norman situation, we didn't even want to see him fight Karen at that point, right? Most people were like, yo, just let the belt go, bro. Don't fight Karen again. Just go to 154. We kept saying it, but he went and he fought Karen.
Right.
Then Turkey gets involved in the conversation, says, man, let's bring you to 154. Let me see you fight against Virgil Ortiz. This fight was supposedly supposed to happen at 147. It didn't. Virgil had some medical problems. He's at 154 now. He's actually holding an interim WBC title. Let's make a big fight, get you in the conversation of fighting a Terrence Crawford. Potentially, who knows what we can make happen if we can get you to have some sort of mandatory status, some sort of interim title status. Let's see it happen. Let's see it happen. Let's bring it full circle. He passes on Virgil Ortiz, and the whole game changed. The boxing space turned on him. And I think me and you, Ray, for the first time, we kind of went back. Now the space wasn't team at 154. Me and you were like, nah, let the dude shine at 147. Let's see him get a title. If he can make these unification title fights, let's see it happen, right? Well, now he gets it. Eddie Hearn does it, right? He secures a fight with Stanionis. Boots is going to get his unification title fight, but the boxing space is still throwing shots, right? Now they want to say, now what are they saying? They're saying, who cares? We don't even care. We want to see you at 154. And now the pressure's on Boots after seeing the flaws in his game, supposedly against Karen, seeing the flaws against him against David Avanesian. Here he comes with another Eastern European, 3 Eastern Europeans, right? 3 Eastern Europeans at this point. What kind of fight does he need to have at this point?
Right.
What kind of fight does he need to have at this point? Because he's got the magnifying glass on him right now. He's got the magnifying glass on him. They want to see him do something great. Otherwise, he's a hype train.
Yep.
Where you at with it at this point?
I'm just going to say, I don't want to hear no more. This guy was a boring fight. There's another champion in front of you. You got to take it seriously. Get him up out of there. Don't play with your food. If you're really that guy, let's make it happen. I respect Boots for what he brings, what he has shown us, you know what I mean? But has he delivered, you know what I mean, after he got his opportunities? Has he delivered when he got back in the ring with somebody that he already fought and thought the guy was going to run on him and was planning on him running to cut off the ring, and the guy stood in front of you, you had no adjustment to it. Are you going to deliver? You know what I mean? The Roman Villa fight was the best I've ever seen him. The best. I would like to see him in a similar situation like the Roman Villa fight. I would like to see Boots accomplish these things that we all know he could be. But are we looking at the great talent? Or are we looking at the great boxer? You know what I mean? Is he a talented boxer? Or is he the next generational talent? Is basically the question. That's what we have to ask. Because you can have all the talent in the world, whether it be generational, influence, whatever. But when it comes down to getting in the ring, are you able to apply that and be the best? Show everybody why you're the best. That's where it comes down to. And I think that's what Boots needs to show us.
Yeah, without a doubt, he's put the magnifying glass on himself. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a big Boots fan. And, you know, a lot of this is the fans' fault, our fault, right? We wanted to see Boots fight against Terrence Crawford. We thought he was one of the only fighters we could see fight Terrence Crawford and give Terrence Crawford the kind of fight what could beat Terrence Crawford even. And we put that pressure on him. Boots didn't put that pressure on him. All he said, put the pressure on himself. All he ever said is he wanted to be a champion, unified champion. He didn't care who had the belts. He was on Errol Spence's top pause. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make that fight as well. Saw that wasn't very realistic. Went the Terrence Crawford way. That fight wasn't very realistic at that point because Terrence was like, "Look, man, I'm moving on to bigger things. I got bigger fish to fry, man. I want to go ahead and make legacy, make the biggest bags I can make. I'm on my way out the door. I'm in my late 30s. I'm on my way out the door." But we put the pressure on him. He never asked for this, but in his own way, he did ask for it. Now he's in a situation where he has a fight and he needs to justify this move he didn't make at 154 to fight Virgil and show the world why he stayed at 147, in my opinion. Right? It's like, all right, you want to unify? All right, well, we're looking for this fight to be great. We saw 2 competitive fights that we feel like, I don't feel like they were that competitive, to be honest. I mean, they were competitive, but Boots won these fights, hands down won these fights. They weren't close fights where he almost didn't win the fight. But he did show that he's susceptible to getting hit, that he can be touched. Fighting against this guy, Stanionis, next is going to be an interesting fight because Stanionis is not somebody to be taken lightly, right or wrong. Salute to Jonathan 97 in the building. What do you think about this Stanionis fight? What do you think about this fight with him and Boots? Like, what do you see in Stanionis? Does he have a chance, or is this a fight you just expect him to be a one-sided fight?
You know, shout out to my boy Mr. Cole when he screamed danger. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, this is a dangerous fight. This, like I said, Boots has to get this guy out of there. He can't play around. Now, what I'm laughing at is a lot of people don't realize Stanionis was on par with fighting Virgil Ortiz himself. Virgil Ortiz had a lot of moves, you know what I mean, in and out. Stanionis himself had 1 pull out of the fight, and Virgil had 2, where he ended up moving up and not even doing the fight. So this is the next great thing. Stanionis is going to actually have to show who he is. But here's the thing. Are the lights too big for Stanionis? Has Stanionis ever been on the main card? Has Stanionis ever had to deal with the pressures that Boots already lived through? The things are going to come to question because Stanionis is always, from what I always understood, has always been on the prelim card. He's a champion. You know what I mean? Right. Respected champion. So has he been on that stage? What's he going to do when the crowd's there? What's he going to do when he has to deal with the pressures of being the single guy in the ring against 11,000 people? How does that work out for you? That's what we need to see. As far as Boots goes, this is a tough fight, man. You need to be on your P's and Q's. This guy's got knockout power. This guy has the ability to box. He's basically Madrimov. A lot of people don't even realize he's like a smaller Madrimov. And he was Madrimov before Madrimov because we knew Stanionis first. You know what I mean? So this is a great opportunity for Boots. It's a great opportunity for Stanionis. Let's see it happen, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tom Michelle, by the way, and get that guy the horn.
Oh yeah, salute. Yeah, man. Listen, another Eastern European fighter. I don't sleep on these guys. You know how I feel about them. Their movement, the way they've been moving the past 2 years or so in the sport, specifically the last 2 years, they've been really shining. I think it's a wave. With these guys, he's from Lithuania. A Lithuanian fighter, but still bringing that Eastern European pedigree. A strong fighter as well. I saw somebody here and say he's not really a puncher. I don't agree necessarily. I think he punches. He has decent power, pop in his shots. I don't know how you feel about it, Ray, but I feel like he got some decent pop, bro. What do you think? Am I bugging? I know his last fight didn't show it.
Yeah, he does. He does have a lot to deal with stuff, and he does have pop. He has stopping ability. I think he has a pretty good knockout ratio. But he is a boxer.
Like 60%. It's not that, you know what I mean?
That's good. Anything over 50 is good.
Right.
And not to mention that he's a great boxer. You know what I mean? He comes from a great pedigree. He knows how to close the distance. He knows how to stay away. I clearly told you. He's like Madrimov. So when we see Madrimov and Bud, we might see a similar thing with Boots. Here's the game plan. Boots gets to come in hydrated.
Right.
He gets to come in a full size. He gets to come in healthy.
You broken up a little bit there, Ray.
Am I? All right.
Yeah.
So he gets to come in full and grown. So pause. By the way.
Yeah.
But he gets to come in like 100%. You know what I mean? Maybe 110. So we have to see how he now acts in that fight, how he responds in that fight. How's he building? Is this the guy that's going to get him out that situation? I don't know why that happened. Anyway, is this a guy that's going to get him and make it a non-boring fight? Because remember, Boots has been bored in these fights before. That's all he ever says. I need somebody that's going to test me. Is this going to be the test? Or are you going to make this a test? Because me mentally as a boxer, everybody's a test because everybody has the opportunity. I'm not going there to play around. So no more excuses of Boots. Show out or get out. That's it. I'm hardcore with it, bro. Pause. I'm not dealing with it no more, bro. No more excuses.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm a Boots fan, man. But I do see that stagnation with him. I see that lack of opponents and him staying at 147 too long may be an issue. And I need those questions answered. I need those boxes checked. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not ready to pass judgment on him necessarily, but I am concerned about how long he's been staying at 147 and chasing this unification and chasing this undisputed. And has this taken some of the best years from Boots? You know what I mean? I'd like to think his best years are in front of him, that his best fights and that his legacy is going to be somewhere with 154. But he's staying at 147. He's doing it against the better judgment of a lot of people in the boxing space who have been pushing him to be at 154. And at this point, we're on the mind. Our thought process is on the majority, but where we're at now is on a minority, right? We seem to always do that. I don't know. Maybe we just like to be on the bad guys all the time. We're pushing for him to be at 154.
Let me tell you what it is, bro. Let me tell you what it is. When it's not that you're going against, right? You start seeing things and people see things later than you, right? They see it later than you. But as you're analyzing it, you're starting to pick certain things that you saw. You're like, yo, did I sell this guy too soon? Did I do this? You know what I mean? Like, we're looking at it in real time, where other people are just looking at it at, oh my, like spectacular. Like they're watching the movie for the first time. We done watched this already. We progressed. So we get to see it both ways. We can say that. You know what I mean? I hear I don't know this guy's name. I've told you I'm not talking to him. Put a super chat. I'm not dealing with it. You know what I mean? In the story. But like, for instance, I can say these things and be wrong because it's my opinion. You heard? It's my opinion. And when I say certain things, it's based on what I have analyzed inside the ring, what I've analyzed inside the conversations he's had. So I think you the same. And we've seen how great this guy could be. He's a talent. He is a talent. Is he going to make that talent a progression to skill? That's what we have to ask. Right.
I agree with you, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I agree with you 100%, man, on this one. This is a make or break. This is a big deal for Boots to be able to show improving this. He especially staying at 147, not going up to 154.
Right.
It's gonna speak a lot if this fight is too competitive. If this fight isn't what it needs to be, then it's gonna be questions about why he even held. They're gonna question even how him and T are gonna look. You know what I'm saying? Based on this fight, and obviously what him and Virgil Ortiz would have looked like. Turkey's in the conversation now, so these fights are going to come full circle. We're going to see these fights. It is what it is. I want to go ahead and touch on something light, and then we're going to open up the panel. Have you heard about this right here?
Man, that ain't happening, man.
Bro,
If it happens,
I'm hearing this is the day.
Right.
It's going to be on HBO Max. They're talking about putting this fight together, bro. Jake Paul versus Logan Paul. Now, I'm not going to ask you if we care because I don't think anybody cares. But
this is promotional. This is a bag, bro. This is a bag in itself.
Even if the fight happens.
So win-win. And they probably knock each other out WWE style, laying in the ring, double 10 count. It's over. Mama still loves her boys for fighting and not fighting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, funny. I laughed my ass off. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? What are these guys talking about right now? They're about to play the biggest trick the devil ever played on the world, is convincing the world that he didn't exist, man. This fight right here, I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't see this fight. I mean, the casuals, the WWE champs, the WWE fans, they're gonna jump on this fight right here. They're gonna want to see it because they don't care if it's fake, if it's real. But a real boxing fan, we cannot take this seriously. We know that this is a game that's gonna get played. If this ain't skidded out, if the Mike Tyson fight wasn't skidded out, this is gonna be skidded out. This is a fake fight, guys. I don't care what nobody says. I don't believe it. This is a fake fight. If the fight happens, it's gonna be scripted. It's going to be scripted. It's going to be horrible. I wouldn't be shocked to see somebody get body slammed in this fight.
I was just about to tell you, Clay. We're going to see Rocky. We're going to see Rocky 3.
You might see Jake Paul like throw Logan Paul out the ring, like go up on them, just throw him out the ring, and the crowd will go crazy. Right. This fight ain't real, bro. This fight ain't real. I don't care. I don't care how it looks. I don't even care if it happens and it looks like a competitive fight. It was a scripted competitive fight. There's no way in hell. When I look at this picture down here with Jake Paul, that cigar, and I look at that smile at them looking at everybody, that's exactly what I think about this fight. Get ready.
You know what's really funny? Remember, we got a Jake Paul clone, a Logan Paul clone out there.
I don't know.
Is it possible they bring the clone in and they just both fighting on the same night?
It's nonsense, man. I'm going to open up the panel so we can have some real boxing talk. If anybody want to come up and build, Bub, feel free to come up here and get at Ray. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to do.
Please, I love it.
You know what I'm saying? Let me know. The panel is opened up. I'm interested in getting some opinions on some of the topics we talked about today. We talked about Diego Pacheco. I think that's an interesting topic in itself. I'm interested in finding out what you guys think about that performance and what's next for him. Obviously, Andy Cruz, Ernesto Mercado, Shakur Stevenson, all the things that we talked about in this fight. Feel free to hit the button. But all the Tank fans, you know what I'm saying? Salute to you guys. Don't come up here.
Right there. Look at him.
Yeah, we're not trying to deal with too much of the, you know what I mean? We know how it is. We know it gets real out here. We don't want no problems. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to stay out the way. You know
funny,
what I mean?
Bro. You funny today. Stay out the way.
Early today, a couple hours ago.
No strays, bro. No strays. Stay out the way.
Secret dance. It was a little bit earlier today. It was a little bit earlier today, man, when they announced it. Yo, did you see the face-off between Derek Chisora and Otto Wallin? Yo, why was Chisora up in there looking like? Why was Chisora having to let Otto Wallin know that this was going to be a different fight than any other fight he ever been in? He sold me. Why was Derek letting him know?
He's a great dance partner for that reason, bro. Every fight he's been in, he sold it. He just. And then it's just the demeanor, bro, like the way he just carries himself and the aggression that he looks, the beard, the scruffiness, just look like he that guy, right? Every single time. Look like he's going to be the guy to do it.
Heart.
Bro, look like he's going to be the guy to do it. And then he get in there, he just...
Yo, he said, I love to fight. That's what I love to do.
Right.
And he says, I don't like fighting. I like boxing. That was the worst thing. When he said, he was like, I don't know about the fighting, but I love to box. He was like, that's the problem. We not boxing. This ain't boxing. He's like, this ain't scoring points. We gonna fight. He's like, what you going in when we get in the ring, we gonna fight each other. And Otto Wallin just kind of looked at him with that look like,
what?
Yeah, it's different. It's different, man. Chisora, man. Derek Chisora.
Yo, he sells it, bro.
He's that guy, bro.
He sold it like they did. He sold it like the people that sold him that hat he was wearing.
Listen, I don't even want no problems with Derek. So I don't even talk bad about Derek Chisora because I don't want no problems, bro. You know what I'm saying? That dude's really him. He's really him, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's really him, bro. I leave him be, bro. He a psychopath, bro. And that's why he keeps on getting. That's why he keeps on getting those bags. What's his record? Like, yeah,
like,
here it is right here. 35 wins, 13 losses, bro. 13? He's been knocked out 4 times. He's been knocked out 4 times, bro. And the dude is still that guy. He's still the guy. When he's on a fight, you know what it's gonna be. You know it's gonna be terrible. He ran it with Usyk.
He won. He won. I know, but the fight, he just won that last fight, didn't he?
Yeah, against
Joyce.
Right.
Everybody expected him to get clean clock knocked out. Like straight up.
No, he's really like that. He's really, really like that, man. You don't even need to play with him, bro. Adevali might want to stay out the way, man. Nobody want to hit the link. It's all good if you don't. I understand. I haven't even seen the likes. Have y'all been hitting the likes up in here? I haven't been paying attention to them. We need to get the likes up, bro. This is horrible.
Salute, horrible. Devontae Richardson.
Who's in there?
Devontae.
I didn't see him. Maybe he went.
Devontae Richardson, right above flyer frequency.
Oh yeah, well, peace, Devontae, for sure. Yeah, man. Derek Chisora really just let Adevali know. I think he's gonna knock Adevali out, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I think Adevali retires after this fight. I really do think he retires after this fight, man. Anything else going on in the boxing space that we need to know about that I'm not aware of?
I know Pro Box got something going on, man. Let me hit boxing. Let me hit the boxing showtimes. I'll run down some fights real quick. And it's a free app, by the way. They need to pay us for that.
Ooh, Pro?
Boxing showtimes for what I just said. So let me check boxing pro times. Showtimes. My bad. So we got next month early. The day after, Shields versus Perkins.
Oh yeah, on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I question that fight. I ain't gonna lie. I stay quiet about it, but I question it a little bit. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
And Yellow looking kind of like, I don't know, bro.
Oh, Lipinets is back in action.
What?
Lipinets is back in action on first as well. It's fighting Azim.
Turkey wants Inoue versus Nick Ball. Of course he does. That's a big fight right there.
Yeah, absolutely. You wouldn't be surprised if Nick Ball catch him. But Inoue's showing a lot. I think we talked about this the other day. He's showing a lot of promise, bro. And when I said, look, I said this is a big pause, no Diddy moment for me, Clay. But I see something in Pacquiao that I see in Inoue. It's a physical attribute. And when you see it, he was like, you said it, right? Right after, you was like, yup. I was like, yo, that's where his power coming from.
Them big tree trunks.
Yup.
Inoue showing out, man. But he does need it's time for him to make a decision on how he's gonna handle his journey at 122. Are you gonna, you know what I mean? Are you either gonna fight? I mean, he's undisputed, he's defended the title like what, 3 times at this point?
Yeah.
Right?
Third title defense. He still gotta fight this guy. So that'll be his 4th at the division. I think he needs to move up. I think he's just waiting for this guy.
Nagatani.
I think he's waiting for that fight, or he's waiting for Bam. And if that's not in the foreseeable future of next fight or two,
126.
He's moving. He might go to 130. He might shoot straight to 130. He might just bypass 126.
You think this fight with him and Tank could be legitimate?
No, I think he'll fight Shoot. I think he's looking at Shushu. I think he sees that opportunity with Shushu first.
Well, Shushu need to get a title.
No, I don't think he care about that. I think it's the money involved in that fight enough. New York City, you know what I mean? The baddest man.
Devontae, I saw him saying that, but he's not ducking him. He is, but he's not. He is to a degree, but he's not. It's just at this point in his career, it's kind of like the Terrence Crawford situation. Like, why? Why fight you? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm him already. I'm a 2-time undisputed champion. And 126 is screaming my name. I got Turkey Al-Sheikh with all this money behind me. Why even play with it? You know, the business of boxing at some point starts to kick in. It just is. It just does it every time. At some point, it becomes a business. It becomes about the business.
There you go, crossing that street again, right? Because we always talk about the legacy, the belts, and where it needs to be. But there's a time and a place where you got to a point where that doesn't matter. That's when people are missing it. What's up, my brother?
What's going on, Clay and Ray?
Chilling,
Chat.
man.
You know what we doing? We just talking about this boxing. This
You
boxing.
know what I mean? You know what I mean?
It is
Yeah,
what
man.
it is.
I was listening to y'all, man. I was just gonna tap in on, I guess, Andy Cruz. Hey, he's a talented, very, very, very talented fighter. But I think they trying to turn him into a knockout artist, and I think he's a better boxer than he is. And he's gonna. I just feel like he's gonna get clipped, man. He seems like he have a little bit of reaction to when he gets hit. I don't want to put the chinny, I don't want to put that on him. But I do think if he's really good, but if he pressed too hard, I just feel like he's gonna get clipped, man. They just, that's that Bowles' style. They want him to be really, really, really offensive. But but if he don't get clipped, I could see him out talenting pretty much everybody that he fights until he get to that top level. But I think somebody like Keyshawn at this level, man, they'll clip him, man. They'll clip him. I think he'll get stopped eventually.
Yeah, man. Freak Flyer saying I felt like Cruz wasn't listening to Bozy. That's part of the conversation because Bozy's definitely trying to change him to something that I agree with you 100%, too, Rich. I think we're all seeing it. That it's like, man, you got him out of his comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? Who he is seems like you're trying to change him. And at 29 years old, isn't it a little too late to change the stripes on the zebra at this point?
Exactly. And that the Cubans are normally good boxers. I just don't know if you're gonna be able to turn them into just a knockout artist. He might not need to stop guys. He might have to outclass guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. He's getting fast tracked. Do you think he's being fast tracked in your opinion at 29 years old? I know 5 fights into his professional career, it's easy to kind of say he's getting fast tracked, but at 29 years old and factoring that in as well, slowing him down, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Giving him more fights, more tune-ups. I mean, he's not a prospect anymore just off the base of his age. He's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and like you say, he kind of cut from that Morel cloth and Keyshawn where they got that amateur background. So hey, that Lomachenko, you're getting fast tracked. So I get it. I get it. I don't know if they can do the Abdullah Mason with him. I don't think they got time for that. And I think he's ready. I think he is who he's gonna be. I don't necessarily see him progressing anymore. I think he got a mature boxing style. I just think he just box, man. Beat. These guys want to see knockout, man. But I'm just saying, beat a dude up. Beat him up. You know what I'm saying? Just beat him up. That's how the fights used to be. You know what I'm saying? So I just think they keep pressing him for them knockouts, but I could just see him getting into the warehouse and getting clipped.
Yeah, yep. I mean, you seen it even yesterday with Omar. There was times in there where you seen Omar fight, land the shot, and you're like,
Oh yeah. And that's why I think he wasn't running in there, even though Bowles and them were telling him to go in there. He like, hold up, brother. You know what I'm saying? Dude, catch me when I come in there. It kind of to bounce off that with that Steven Nelson fight. It was this, similar to me with him, where you saw he was coming in, he was jabbing, but when he wasn't throwing the right hand because he was getting countered. He was getting countered when he threw that right hand, so he stopped throwing the right hand. I'm like, what good is running in there if you ain't got no weapon that you gonna deploy when you get there? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, Diego was doing a good chance. I'm not good chance. Diego's doing a good job of being ready for what Steve Nelson was going to bring to the table. You saw he got ready for it. He had that poise, and he was being very patient, trying to stay behind that jab. But he had that uppercut that was coming up right there in the middle. Every time Steve would kind of come low, and like he was going to cut that space, Diego would come up the middle with that uppercut, and just kind of like check him. And then he cut him over that right eye on the left eye. Right? Was it over his left eye?
Left eye.
Yeah. He caught him when he caught him with that right hand, and it seems like that put Steve Nelson on cruise control at that point. Like he didn't kick it up, but we saw him shine in the 11th and 12th round. Did you feel that way?
He did. Hey, because he found his weapon, which was the left hook. Now imagine how he been throwing that left hook the whole fight. I think he stopped Pacheco. I really wasn't impressed with Pacheco. I mean, he's good and and it was a step up in class for him. But dude, he got that dog in him, man. He's like a good boxer, but it's like I can't picture him in there with Canelo. Like he just don't seem like he got enough, or maybe he don't have enough yet. Now I thought the last fight he looked pretty good in, but this fight I really wasn't impressed with him. I really thought Nelson would have had a couple of more rounds. I think he would have stopped Pacheco.
Yeah, that's an interesting take.
I did, and Clay, and both Clay and Blue were like, "What the hell is Ray Davis talking about?" Listen, man, I said in the 7th round, I think Pacheco started off strong in that round. Then he just stopped boxing, right? He got like in the shell, but he looked like he was tired. He just was moving very lackadaisical. He just looked slow. And I thought Steve Nelson took that round until the last, like maybe 20 seconds. You see him step on the gas out of nowhere, and you hear Blue screaming, "Yo, he gonna steal the round, get in there, stop running," whatever, right? So at that point, I noticed, and you tell me if you noticed it, that Steve Nelson was slapping with his right hand. He didn't look like he was throwing a solid punch. He looked like he was coming in this way. Even when he hit him in the 11th and the 12th, and he was hitting him with that left hook, his follow-up was not secured with the right hand. And I thought there was a big issue with that. Now, I said maybe he was fighting that way the whole fight, and I just didn't notice it. But it just looked like he had the opportunity to stop him if he'd have followed up. And then he went to do it the second time he hooked him, and he kind of backed out right away before he started throwing. He backed out. I was like, yo, I think something's wrong with his hand. Like this dude's hand looked like it's hurting or something. I don't know if it was from a block. I don't know if he just punched the dude in the elbow or in the wrist and some hard bone and hurt himself or hit him awkwardly. Whatever the case may be, it just looked like Nelson hurt his hand. And that was a reason why he stayed a little bit distant, why he used a lot of the try to counter him as much and look for the openings with the left, not so much the right.
Yeah, it was definitely something going on because the Steve Nelson I was expecting to see a real powerful overhand right, and he never really threw it right. Like he never could. I don't know if just Pacheco was long and he just couldn't get in close enough to throw it, or like you say now that you saying maybe he hurt his hand, but he definitely wasn't throwing that right hand. The Steve Nelson from the last fight, he stopped that guy with an overhand right, and I didn't see that overhand right none of that fight. Be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear him say anything about it. Definitely, Ray's been definitely preaching that right hand situation. I didn't see it. I'm not gonna lie. I did see him. There was a shot that I saw him throw. I feel like it might have been the 5th or the 6th round where he hit Diego Pacheco on his elbow. I did see him catch him on his elbow with that right hand, and it did kind of look like he kind of like pulled back tight on that right hand a little bit. Like maybe he might have jammed his wrist a little bit or jammed, you know what I mean? Like jammed a little bit off his elbow. But once again, after I seen him doing what he was doing 11th and 12th round, and I seen him letting his hands go. I don't know, maybe he didn't say it though, right? He said it was the blood in his eye. He was seeing orange. He was seeing yellow. It was complicated. He was getting clipped, and he's saying that kind of threw him off his game. He's asking for a rematch. He wants a rematch. I don't think he's going to get it. I think it's far-fetched. I don't see why Diego will fight him again. Yeah.
But I do think Steve Nelson had a good showing. He's showing he was tough because I thought he was gonna get stopped for a minute, and for him to come back in that 11 and 12, he definitely showed he was in shape and that he was tough. So he'll probably like I said be a B-side fighter for a couple more fighters, and at least he'll make some money. Probably on his own without being on a Crawford card or whatever.
Yeah. What about Diego Pacheco's next fight, though, at this point? Where you at with it? I mean, you want to see him tested. It sounds like you're not sold on Diego Pacheco at this point completely. It seems like you're still looking to see some boxes get checked. But at this point, where does he go?
Berlanga, because both of them need to check a box. So let them check each other box. Yep. That's what I say, Berlanga. You know what I'm saying? And one of them eliminate each other, and we move forward. I think that's the best fight. Well, I heard him mention another fight. I can't think of it right now, but I like the Berlanga. The Berlanga fight. They might have said Caleb Plant, but I don't know. I don't know if he's big enough for Caleb Plant yet. But
Caleb's interim. Ray showed me earlier that he's actually an interim WBA champion, regular or whatever.
Yeah, WBA.
Right. So I don't know if Caleb wants to, give Diego Pacheco an opportunity like that, or if he doesn't want to use his leverage that he has with his title to get into a Canelo Alvarez sweepstake, or even fight a Edgar Berlanga, even just because they got that old smoke. We'll see what they do though. So let me ask you, though, as far as Andy Cruz is concerned, I'm hearing about this right here: Andy Cruz versus Maxie Hughes. Have you heard anything about this?
No, I ain't heard about that.
Right,
I ain't heard about that.
A WBA title eliminator. That's what Maxie Hughes wants to make happen. I think it's a great fight for Andy Cruz. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like that fight. I like that fight for him. I definitely think Andy Cruz is talented. So I don't want to get that misinterpreted, but I think he a lot like Boots, where very much talented, but the defensive thing, he got to put it together. But I think he ready though. I don't think they got to need a slow walker, man. Go on and put him out there, man. He ready. He gonna beat most guys. I can see him meeting, Keyshawn at the top somewhere, eventually. So yeah, I like that fight, Maxie Hughes. That'll be a good fight.
Well, that being said, too, Rich, you brought up Boots Ennis. I thought that was interesting that you brought him up, because what's the common thread here between these two fighters? And when you're talking about defense being issues, do you see a common thread there?
Hey, it's the training, man. It's that Bowes' style, man. It's very offensive, man. It just, and to me, it's a tomato can style, meaning it depends on you fighting a guy you could beat. But if you go in there with somebody, they're gonna throw something back, man. They're gonna counter you. That too aggressive style. They're gonna get countered.
Right. Even Stephen Fulton, right? Last fight he had, and that's a third fighter.
Yeah, he was getting counted. Yeah, and he another one. He's not a power puncher, but he's fighting like he's a knockout puncher.
Yeah, they're finesse fighters, man.
Yeah,
fighters, and they're in there trying to be these strong barbarians, and that's not, man. Listen, man, just go in there and do your job.
They're not Boots, man. At the end of the day, they're not Boots, and it seems like, I'll be honest with you, they fight a very like doghouse rules in the gym type of fight. You know what I mean? Like the way they fighting is kind of like they like hard sparring. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I don't know how productive that's going to be in the ring. But yeah, you definitely called it the way me and Ray's been talking about it. It's that Bowes Ennis is the common thread. I'm watching him and I'm just looking for the adjustments, man. We'll see what happens. Stephen Fulton's got a fight coming up February 1st against Brandon Figueroa. That's going to be a huge fight. I'll be
yeah.
Right. So let's see what Bowes does to adjust Stephen Fulton. I know the Stephen Fulton that I saw as a dominant fighter. It wasn't the guy who I saw fight against Monster anyway, but definitely was not the guy I saw fight his last fight. I can't remember what his name was, Cesar or something. I can't remember who it was. But what was his name?
I was gonna say Carlos Castro, but I'm wrong.
Who was it? It might have been Castro. I think you might be right.
Carlos Castro? Okay. I thought that's who it was, but
I think you're right, man. I think it's who it was. Hold on, let me see. I believe you are right, bro. Yeah, Carlos Castro was his last fight. Yep.
Okay. All right.
He got that split decision win with him, but the crowd was booing. Right. You know what I'm saying? They didn't agree with that decision. So let's see what he does with Brandon Figueroa February 1st and see what Bowes able to do, because that's what I'm watching. I'm looking at Bowes Ennis. That's where my eyes is at. What do you think about Ernesto Mercado?
You know what? I missed that fight. He the one that fought Pedraza, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I keep hearing y'all talk about her. People talk about, but I actually missed that fight. What was it? Early stoppage?
Yeah, fourth round, rabbit punch a little bit, but Pedraza came in low, kind of put his head down, and Ernesto came over the top with a right hand and threw his equilibrium off, knocked him out. He stopped him. He wasn't able to continue to fight. But it was a stoppage that he needed to have, I think, being that he was calling out the Shakurs and the Keyshawn Davises, and you saw how those guys were soft and he wanted to fight those dudes. Well, now him and Keyshawn have a common opponent in Jose Pedraza, even though he's a little older and washed up. Like Ray said earlier, probably a better version of Jose Pedraza, being that Jose was fighting at 140, instead of fighting at 135 to fight Keyshawn. But he's shaking it up. He wants to make it happen with one of these top fighters, with Shakur, with Keyshawn. He wants to make these fights happen. I'm assuming trying to pull him up to 140, being that he's at 140. I don't know if he'd be interested in coming down to 135. He's a big kid, long arms. What is he? Probably like 5'10", 5'9".
Yeah, he looked pretty nice size guy. Yeah, I came in on the part where he was calling Shakur and all that, calling them out and stuff. So he got some balls. So hey, but I'm gonna have to go back and watch the highlights or something because I missed that fight.
It was a good one. It was a good fight. He actually showed me something I didn't think he was gonna do. I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't think he was gonna stop me.
5'10", you know what I mean? Tall kid, decent arm reach too. I think he's seen that like a 74-inch or 72-inch arm reach, something like that. Like he has some long arms, man. Kid's a problem out here.
Okay.
He's a problem out here. What else happened? This Jerron Boots Ennis fight coming up. It's finally been announced for April 12th between him and Stanionis, right? But it's at 147 title unification fight. What do you think about the fight at this point, man? I mean, first of all, where were you as far as your opinion on him staying at 147 and not going to 154 to take that opportunity with Virgil Ortiz? Did you feel any kind of way one way or the other about that?
Well, I said from the jump, Boots food at 154, man. And, I ain't expect him to. I just think he got caught up in his own statement at that press conference. He said that, there's time to move up and all that. So I was gonna be shocked if he moved up. So when he didn't, I wasn't surprised. Nor do I think he have to move up to 154. Yeah, go ahead and unify, man. I would honestly try to undisputed at 147. I just think that path is a little bit more clear. May take some time. But I think it's clear at 154, man. I just think he fooled up there, man. I just think we think he's big, but I don't think he's quite big enough for them guys up there, man. And when he stumbled like he did with Karen, he's no longer the boogeyman now. They're gonna come for his head. So now he has to fight a different fight now. Even with Stanionis, they coming to attack you now. They're not going back and here come the boogeyman. They're going to him like he fooled now. So now he has to fight a different fight now. More not to say defensive fight, but more of somebody coming at him. So I just think the road gets tougher for him. Now I expect him to beat Stanionis, but this is my thing. If Boots would fight Stanionis like he did Karen, say he had the exact same fight he had with Karen against Stanionis, I wouldn't penalize him that hard for it because it's a championship fight. I expect Stanionis to have some pushback. I don't expect him to go in there and lay down, But because Boots already had that type of fight with Karen, where do you go from there? Stanionis gonna come for you. He gonna see that weakness. He gonna come for you. So now Boots might shine because of that. Don't get me wrong. He might shine because a guy coming at him like that. But we gonna find out. I favor Boots though.
Yeah, me too. I definitely favor him. But I agree with you 100%. He has to prove something in this fight. He has to get the respect back. He has to get everybody back on their P's and Q's as far as not playing with his face and not doing what Stanios is probably going to try to do, which is probably apply that pressure and try to break Boots, try to finish the job he feels like Karen could have done if he had the pop in his hands to do. So we'll see. But I mean, that's pretty much it over here. Anything else, Too Rich? Anything we missed? Anything that you want to bring up and what you've been covering lately?
What y'all think? I saw Shakur, whatever, like his finger was hurt. He had a black eye. How y'all seeing that? What y'all think?
Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about the fake hate injury. Listen, man, it comes with the game, right? It comes with the game. Like he gave those performances against De Los Santos and against Avanesian and not Avanesian, Aratunian, and he had the surgery on his hand, so they throwing shots at him, or rumors are starting to build up about his hands. Is Shakur's hands fragile? Does he have, does he have brittle hands? Is this going to be an issue for him for the rest of his career? Did he get it fixed with this surgery? Did this surgery put it where it needs to be at? It's going to be interesting to see. He's fighting against somebody who's going to make him show us, right?
Yeah.
Right. It is what it is. I mean, if his hands are on point, I think that's a great thing. I think we'll start seeing some stoppages from him. We'll start seeing him deliver on that. But if his hands aren't on point, is this the downward trajectory of Shakur Stevens' career? Was he a fighter who could have been but couldn't because he had the bad hands?
Hey, and you know what? I don't know if Shakur realized, like you say, this fight for him, believe it or not, is his biggest fight of his career right now. Because it's gonna tell which way he go from here. Do you get in there, and even if you just don't look good, now you gotta, people gonna put their jacket on you. Now you can go in here and look good and stun the crowd, and take a quick trajectory upward. So I think he got a lot. I think he probably feeling some pressure, man. I think it is some pressure on this fight for him, which give Schofield a possible chance. I got Schofield as a live dog, man. At least for the first 6 rounds. I think he gassed out after the first 6 rounds. Then Shakur take over and probably stop him. But in those first 6 rounds, hey, I don't know, man. Shakur mind state sometimes it kind of mess with me. I'm not sure where he at, So I guess we gotta wait for him to get in the ring, man. I don't know, man. But that's a good fight to me, man. That's a really, really good fight. It's a fight Shakur should win, but I definitely like that matchup, man. I really like that matchup because you got the boxer against the pressure fighter or puncher, so we got to see how it shake out, man. But what y'all think about? I saw Blue post on the page. Lamont Roach drop 2 of his sparring partners.
I don't know, but real quick before we go on that, here's a picture I was trying to find here of his hands, man. Look at those hands, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why the rumors are going around. Those hands is beat to death, bro.
Yeah.
And it's
that makes me think he must be hitting a lot on people's forehead.
Something's going on, and I think he's doing a lot more fighting in the gym than he is in the ring.
Probably too much.
Right? Too much, right?
Yeah, probably too much, man. He spars a lot, man, and it's probably damaging him.
Yeah, he's doing more work in the gym than he is in the ring, and I think he's suffering from it, man. I think Shakur gave his best fights in the gym. It looks like, you know what I mean? Like his best fights in the gym. But yeah, you were saying about Lamont dropping people.
Yeah, I saw Blue posted a video with Lamont Roach dropping 2 of his sparring partners.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the video, but I don't know, man. Look, this is what I'm going to say about that whole situation. If Tank mess around, man, if he mess around and lose to a Lamont Roach, bro.
Hey, man. Hey, Lamont a live dog, man. I can't tell you.
I feel you.
You keep playing around at the bottom of the barrel, you're going to get dirty, man. You see what I'm saying? Tank keep playing around. He going to get beat by one of these guys he shouldn't get beat by because that's all he's fighting. You see what I mean? And, I think Murphy's Law might just creep in, man, And I think everybody thinks somebody that beats Tank going to be a power punch. Tank is the power punch at 135. There's nobody that's going to outpower him. The guy that beats Tank is going to outbox him. I'm not saying the guy couldn't stop him, but he's going to box him until he stops him. I think Lamont Roach boxes enough that he won't gas in those first 6 rounds. And if he could take that boxing to the later rounds, and when Tank come on trying to detonate with that power, if he can make Tank miss, Tank gonna gas. I think Tank gas by the 10th or 11th round. If he feel like he down those cards and he coming trying to hurry up and get that knockout and he can't get it, I think he gas. I think even in that Pitbull CRUZ, I think he gassed a little bit in those late rounds. That's what happened when you're throwing a lot of power shots. You know what I mean? They're going to gas you. And if Lamont Roach can avoid them, it could get janky, man. It could be a janky fight, man. I think it's a bad matchup. Like if you say the matchup, Tank versus Roach, that's a bad matchup. But I think it's going to be a better fight. You see what I mean? I think the fight
be a better fight. Like
if
this fight is super competitive, right? Let's just say Tank wins a fight, but it's just a competitive fight. Let's say he goes to a decision and it's a competitive 12-round fight with Lamont Roach. Does this put perspective on the other fights that everybody's asking for? And I'm not going to say any particular names. We know what the names are, but does it put perspective on those fights?
Oh yeah, it does. It tells a lot. It tells a lot, man. Because I just feel like Tank fighting at the level he's supposed to fight. I just think he's a small guy, and they giving him fights that he could win. And the fights that we think they're just so hard to make are just happen to be the fights that's the worst matchups for Tank. So if he go out here and fight a close fight with Lamont Roach, it won't be surprising me because Lamont Roach is a boxer. Now, how good of a boxer? I don't know if he's an elite boxer, so I can't put him in the elite category, but he is a boxer that got some pop to him. And I just think his style he might be able to carry it to the late round. That's all I'm looking for. Can you carry it to the late round when Tank come on in the 6th, 7th, and the 8th round? Because everybody think Tank got power. He's a knockout puncher, but he's not as powerful as you think. And the only reason I say that, his last first round knockout was 10 fights ago. But ever since he started fighting names like Gamboa on up to the present day, all his knockouts come after the 6th round. So I think he learned not to waste his power in the earlier rounds. Wait till his opponent loses a little bit of their power. Because one thing people miss, we saw Tank hit Ryan Garcia flush in the 2nd round, and Ryan Garcia got up. He did not get knocked out. He got right up and fought for the next 5 rounds. So Tank has that late round power. And where you heard that before, that's what Tank said about Lamont Roach, that Lamont Roach had late round power. He recognizing the similarities in himself and Lamont Roach. So if Lamont Roach can take this thing to the late rounds and still have his wits about him, and Tank, and he ain't letting Tank just hunt him down, it could get interesting, man. Because for Lamont Roach, if like you said, if he just make it a close fight, even if he loses, it's a win for him. So I think he's gonna be better than what people think it is.
I got a feeling it's gonna be that too. I don't know how much of a good thing that is. I mean, it's gonna be good for Lamont for sure.
Yeah,
it'll be a good thing for Lamont Roach. For Tank, I don't know. You know what I mean? I saw Bub put in there that, why can't a smaller fighter hurt Tank? Or, I'm basically, I guess Bub is basically saying if we see Roach hurt Tank, that doesn't make Tank a hype job. I don't think that makes Tank a hype job, but I do think look, at this point in the game, I think it will steer and move around a narrative and a perspective as to why we're not seeing him fight, other fighters. You know what I mean? Where people are talking about weight bullying and people are talking about big fighters taking advantage of Tank, and they always let us know that Tank is a smaller dude, right? He's not that big. You guys just want him to go. Why should he go to 140? And I think in our mind and a lot of boxing fans' minds, Tank isn't that small, right? Like we know he's small, but we feel like he punches like, when you hear he punches like a middleweight and he does all these things, you don't see the size difference between him and a 140-pound junior welterweight champion up there. You see what he did with Mario Barrios, and it makes you think that he can do these things, but it might come down to Tank is really a 130-pound fighter who's been fighting the big fighters at 135. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe that's what it is. Is that what is it? Is he really a 130-pound fighter in your opinion, too, Rich?
Hey, I said that from the get-go. He's a 130-pound fighter. That's way more comfortable fighting it. Hell, Leonard Ellerby tried to tell you that he's a 130-pound fighter. Just nobody won't listen. And everybody say, well, he's only 139. He's coming in to fight. He's already close to weight. Tank became a Muslim, and he participated in Ramadan. Some people, when they go to Ramadan, they cut that weight. It might not come back. And I think him cutting that weight has brought his size down. Participating in Ramadan, and now he realized he's a smaller guy. And now I think that's why you see the 130-pound fight. And I think even the backup for the fight, in case some emergency happens, is also 130 pounds. So I look for Tank to more than likely win this fight and call out anyway.
Look, man,
I think that's it. Go ahead.
I've been taking some real thought and consideration in that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, Tank's fans know that, right? Like, even right now, Bub is saying, he's comparing him in, Bub, obviously I'm not saying he's the same size as Devin or Shakur. What I'm saying is the way he fights and how he punches and the way he brings it. I think in our minds, we look at him like he's the size. I guess I'm going to say the size difference doesn't make a difference with Tank. Right. He's special enough to where the length of the arms and the height don't make a difference. And we might be wrong. We might be wrong for looking at it that way. Maybe it's because he's in the conversation. Maybe because he's in the same weight class as these fighters that we want to see him fight so bad, and we're not acknowledging the fact that he's doing something that he's not even in his weight class. Maybe you know what I'm saying? That we're not acknowledging that he's not even supposed to be at 135. He's supposed to be at 130. And maybe that's the whole entire foundation to the complaints and the scrutiny that Tank is getting, is the fact that we're not acknowledging. And I'm holding myself accountable, saying that maybe I'm not acknowledging this guy's not supposed to be fighting at 135.
Right.
And,
And let's
yeah.
real quick, just to even tap in with that, right? So what you're saying that, Clay, is the fact that the semantics are being played here, right? So we know what we're saying. We're saying his punch is the equalizer to these guys' weight and size.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to beat taller feats. He's Superman, basically, right? He can leap a building in a single bound, move faster than a speeding bullet, stop a locomotive with one single punch. That's what we're looking at. So when we're saying that, we're not saying it to the point that we think that Tank is this guy that's you know what I mean, the same size physically. We're saying that his abilities allow him to move into the same category, the same size, the same positioning as these other fighters. We have to stop trying to read between the lines and it's not just Bub. I'm just saying this is generally, because I guarantee you if somebody clips what you say, they're not going to listen to that point. They're going to listen to the other point. They're going to listen to the facts that, oh, look what this guy said about Tank. No, that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is there's an opportunity for Tank to bring an equalizer. And y'all use that same terminology when y'all say Tank has the equalizer. So y'all only want to pick and choose when y'all want to use that. And that's what I'm saying generally, Clay. This was just a play on semantics. That's it. I'm moving on.
Hey, y'all know that? Did y'all see what Tank tweeted or something the other day or whatever, however he did it, about y'all just want me? I'm just paraphrasing, but he basically said y'all just want me to basically move up and wait and fight anybody. I guess he was talking about any weight class. Well, that at least lets you know he's thinking about the weight and he's feeling the pressure. It ain't but one YouTube. Like I tell people, he watching it, he hear the noise, or whatever the case may be, and I think he is concerned. He know what a fight's at, but I think he know his ability and how far his reach go. And I just think he's gonna stick to the lower 130, 135. I say fight this fight and pull in your way up. If Crawford gonna fight, go move up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo, and that's a mega fight. Well, Tank, pull in your way up 2 weight classes. They tell Turkey to cut the check, man, and maybe do a catch weight 133, something like that, and just go on and make a big fight, man, and get out of here. So I told you I don't think he fight none of the guys, y'all. We waiting on him to see him. He's not gonna fight those guys, man.
Nope.
Man, bro, listen, man, it definitely some perspective and something I had to take in the thought process, and now I kind of see why the Tank fans, I kind of see why the Tank fans be talking about getting the Addy, you know what I'm saying, and you got to watch your backs out here in these streets, and
they on that purple, bro. They on that purple.
The way they feel about Tank, you know what I mean. I get it, you know what I mean. They be ready for Tank, you know what I'm saying. But I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I kind of get it, man. I kind of get it right now at this point. Too Rich has helped me see the light a little bit. You know what I mean? Like people, what's happening is Tank is not a 135-pound fighter, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. He's a 130-pound fighter fighting at 135 pounds. And I think that puts a lot of perspective on it. It drops a lot of perspective on it. And if anything, you can start to celebrate Tank for what he's accomplished, knowing that he's not even in his weight class. I do think, him staying at 135 and not challenging and fighting for other titles. I don't think Lomachenko falls underneath that category as a fighter that was just way bigger than him. You know what I'm saying? Right. I thought there was opportunities there for that fight to be made. But look, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm done pushing on Tank to do things he doesn't want to do. If Monster Inouye's the fight, we'll take that fight. You know what I mean?
I'll take that fight. I'll take it. I'll take Tank versus Raymond Ford. I'll take that fight.
Exactly. If those are the
you want to go to 130, you want to pull somebody up, go ahead, pull them up.
Right.
But don't you think? I mean, look, I'm down with it too. But I also wouldn't mind if you just go down to 130 and fight down there and just make it official. Fight the titles down there, right? Go to 130, fight for the titles down there, unify down there, fight the champions down there, fight O'Shaquie Foster, fight Raymond Ford,
fight
Monster Inoue if he comes up to 130, fight fight Steven Espinoza, not Steven Espinoza, oh my God, Rafael Espinoza when he comes up there. Those are big fights that can be made down there, and I'm actually interested in seeing those fights.
And listen, and like I just said to y'all, like, and I don't think y'all heard me. They talk about Bam's a natural 130-pounder, right? Not natural. I'm saying like he should be fighting at 130. Bring him up too. Shit, Bring him up. Let's see it happen. Knock down all these dudes, bro.
I think that it is what it is, man. I like this conversation. I'm going to leave it at that point. I see everybody leaving anyway. There must be something else going on. Plus, I got stuff that I got to do. I got ready, ready for this Blue Blood show today. But that's an interesting point of topic. We'll continue it tomorrow. Tank Davis, 130 pounds. That's what he should be, man. He should be at 130, man. Let's make those where the fights can happen with no rehydration clauses, with no extra, you know what I mean? With no, you don't have to bring up nobody to 135. You don't gotta, have this nasty, asterisk next to a lot of your fights, because there's always these extra little things that need to happen with a fighter coming up or bringing down a fighter and having them have a rehydration clause. Just fight where you're supposed to be at, so we can start seeing you fight fights and getting the credit for them in the way that's supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It is what it is, man. But you guys, Ray, do you want to say, well, too rich, you want to say anything before you bounce?
No, that's all I got, man. Like I said, we got Benavidez and Morrell this weekend, right?
Right. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. They're supposed to have their media, a little bit of media. I don't know if workouts or just grand arrivals, whatever it's supposed to look like tomorrow. And then obviously, Thursday they'll have their last press conference, and Friday they'll have their weigh-in. Saturday they'll be going at it.
All right. Well, yeah, man, that's all I got, man. I appreciate y'all letting me come up, man. What time you come on tomorrow?
Same time. 1:45, yeah, same time.
Okay, I'll check in tomorrow.
All right, brother. I appreciate you, man. Okay. Thank you. Ray Davis, another one in the bag.
Absolutely. Shout out to Bub's Boxing. I thought his name was Bud Boxing. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was laughing when I kept seeing it, but it's cool. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate your hard
Bub's
work.
My guy. I like Bub.
Listen, I do. That's what I'm saying. I appreciate his hard work and trying to get our attention on certain things. And his questions are valid. You know what I mean? It's not that they're not valid. It's just I think sometimes there's a way of taking things, right? There's always two meanings to anything that somebody says due to the word of our English language. There's words that have double meanings. And I think sometimes you go to the worser of the meaning of things or what you think you hear, and sometimes you throw that back at us, which is cool. It's fine. You know what I mean? But when we try to clarify it, you keep digging down that hole, and you like to keep it in that rabbit hole instead of moving the needle. It's okay, man. I just ain't got time for it. Like I said, you want to holler, bro, just put in the super chat out. We can discuss it. We got the panel, right? Come up to the panel. Have these conversations. It's not just you. I'm just saying it's generally, I'm just talking about everybody.
What do you think about that whole scenario we were just talking about the 130, 135 version of Tank? Like, he just fight at 130 and just be somewhere where he can fight everybody in the division, where he can fight the champions, where we don't have to keep hearing about.
I think it's too much talent there. I think it's too much talent at 130 for him to stay there, and he'll be dealing with a worse problem than he does at 135, because at least at 135 he has a couple of guys that are like a lot of top, like he's like 5-6 top guys, and everybody else is kind of middle of the road. And I think he has a little bit more wiggle room at 135. You know what I mean? And he fought at 140, and he can fight at 130. So it gives him opportunity to pick from the litter box, you know what I mean? And whatever he wants. So, I mean, I think he's where he is where he's supposed to be at, in my opinion. If you think he should be at 130, I can see him campaigning there, but I just don't think that the money's there. And I think that's what it comes down to, because the lightweight division is where the money's at.
The lightweight divisions are where the money's at, but he's been making a lot of money bringing up dudes from 130. That's what I'm saying. So,
but bringing them up, not going down.
I guess it makes a difference. But anyway, on that note, guys, I'm gonna let you go. Yo, Ray, I appreciate you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Holding it down. Appreciate everybody in the chat, everybody who showed up in the building. Hit the like button if you haven't done it yet. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, take a moment to go ahead and do that as well. I appreciate all you guys. Will be back here tomorrow, probably continue this conversation. I think this conversation is a very interesting one, where Tank should be at in comparison to where he is. One thing or another, I think has to give, or it's going to be, if he's not going to fight the champions at 135, he needs to unify somewhere. So anyway, that being said, I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you. Thank you. See you guys tomorrow, man.
Peace.
We out.
Yeah, they hate when you elevate. Stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, but I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate.